And we are live. Welcome to Cognitive Rampage podcast. Hope you're taking care of you. Hope you're living your cognitive rampage. I know you're living your cognitive rampage, brother.
Yes, sir. I am.
Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Adam Laurie, it's been, what, 2 years?
No.
Yes.
Well, 2 years.
2 years.
Well, you held the title here of being on the podcast the most. I think you're still there.
Okay.
Really? How many times you been? 2 years?
Yeah.
I'm checking now.
Check.
It's 2 years.
It's been close to 2 years.
Oh my God. No.
Because I've been reffing for 2 years, and I don't think I've done a podcast since I started reffing.
I'm checking the last time you did the podcast. Yeah, I'm checking. I want to know when the last time you actually did it.
And remember, you went on tour. You went on tour with the book.
Yeah, shit.
And I haven't done anything since you went on tour with the book.
Let's see, what episode? Oh, that's not you.
Nope.
I pulled up the one that's, I was actually searching the, instead of my videos, I was searching the internet and pulled up. That's a mugshot. That's not you.
Nope.
You've never been arrested, right?
No, my feet too fast. I've been blessed. These dogs, these feet get me places, man.
Yeah, man.
I've been making money off these feet for a while.
Yeah, I can't even, I don't know. I'm trying. Oh, that's why I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the creator studio. That's not where I would find it.
Right.
I'm like, where do I search my own videos? I don't even know my own. There it is. All right. So let's see. When the last time you were on the podcast? It was.
Two years.
Dang, March 30th, 2016.
Yeah.
No, episode 71. Oh,
Yeah.
no, there it is. August 16th, 2016.
Right.
We did we were doing that little series, The State of Education.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did we do? One episode of that?
One.
Yeah, I think we did one episode, The State of Education. That's right. So, yeah, that video did good too. No kidding, man. 2 years, bro.
2 years, man.
Too long, man.
Life been flying by, man.
It does that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
It is. It's amazing because you're not standing still. You're not stagnant. Normally, pay attention. Like when you're driving in the car, it seems like forever if you're sitting still, if you're sitting in traffic.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you get into your destination, then time tends to have a pinch on you.
Yeah.
It'll let you know that it's real and it's still moving.
You look like you're DJing on the video right now because you got one ear up.
Oh yeah.
You got one. You saving something for the ear over there in case you can hear something?
Well, I don't know. I just because I want to be because it's not connected to mine, so I want to see how it sounds.
Well, yeah, it'll pick up. It should
Okay.
pick up.
Okay.
You got a good phone.
So I should probably just drop it.
Yeah.
All right, this is like
I'm looking at you right
I
here.
like looking like a DJ though.
Yeah, you do. You're like, that's how you got to do nowadays. The DJ, man. I used to DJ, man, and back when DJs had to be DJs, you actually had to spin records and mix the records.
Yeah.
Then that Serato thing came out, and then you could just touch a button and it would sync it. I mean, I think some clubs and stuff are going back to that. Like you have to do vinyl.
Yeah.
But I think a DJ now consists of playing the song selection really, than just doing this for 4 hours or wearing some funky hat or helmet or something.
Well, they feel it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, man. So I know it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've been working on a lot.
Yeah, I've caught a couple of your videos, man.
Yeah, man. The Melanin Code is something that's been big. It's really so. My friend Marcus Small, so he's the producer of it.
Mhm.
So the first time I saw it, it hit me on so many different areas and so many different levels.
What's it about? Go just cover.
So just a quick brief story of the Melanin Code. So the Melanin Code, it's a code of ethics, right? But the Melanin Code, he made the documentary because he wanted to put things into a perspective of how melanin people need to get their act together, right?
Mhm.
So there's like 9 areas where we all, to where white supremacy has affected us in our daily life, whether it's politics, law, labor, economics, education, entertainment, war, and even sex. So it breaks it down, but instead of just, how we get documentaries where they just constantly point out problems.
Well, yeah, you can curb a documentary to kind of say what you want it to say, even if it's not evidence based, or you can shape it. You can shape any research to really say what you want if you pay enough money.
Yeah, right. So he decided to do a documentary for the code of ethics. So it's a code of ethics for melanin people. So how we should treat each other. But everybody has melanin in their skin.
Right.
Right. So it's
I was gonna say, when I'm hearing melanin people, I'm like, that's everybody.
Right. So it's a human code of ethics for how we should treat each other. but like if you go to the Melanin Code on Facebook,
Yeah.
you'll see how he points out all the unequal issues that we have. Like if a white person does a crime, just because they have less melanin in their skin, they get a lesser sentence than somebody who has more melanin in their skin.
Yeah, there's the trailer for it right there. That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's what it's really about. So it's really on a fight of humanity.
No kidding. I wish I could play it. I don't. Nobody else. I don't think
about the conversation.
Yeah,
if you say we're going to talk about racism, white Americans think you're getting ready to call them racist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, so with that, that documentary, it means a lot to me because how I'm big on education, right? Well, it kind of like, so to blacks, what it'll do is it'll show blacks in their face, hey, listen, we have to put in work too. Don't just think because Obama made it in office that everything's supposed to be great. No, you just vote and you went and sat down on your couch. You didn't really put in any effort.
Yeah.
Now it's saying nobody's in our way. We're in our own way. We just refuse to work together.
You're gonna get emails for this,
I don't care.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so that's what I want.
See, even myself, I'm pointing out before we keep going, because even myself sitting here as a host of this, right?
Mhm.
As you start to talk about it, I start to go, all right, what can I say? What can I not say? Right? It's a shitty place that we've come to in social media or anywhere else. That that any talk of race of any kind, at least on my side,
Right.
I even start, and I say my side, I'm half Native American, right? I mean,
Right.
I even got a joke where I said I found out I'm 10% black, but it's funny. I won't say it now. I can't throw my bit out there. But everyone kind of squeezes a little bit. They kind of tighten the asshole just a little bit, right? They can't, like, what can I say? It's a sensitive culture where we're at. The social culture is really sensitive right now.
It is, but that's the problem. So, but you can't change anything until you ruffle some feathers. So what we decided to do, so what I decided to focus on, because when the Melanin Code starts out, like, man, look, it goes through its initial screen, and then the first words that touch on is white supremacy, and I'm looking like, yeah, that's kind of tough to spit that to a college crowd just by having them see the video white supremacy. So I decided to go ahead and so I got a speech together where I was talking about how we all evolved only based off of our skin tone, our eye color, and so forth, based off of where we ended up during the Ice Age.
Yeah, when we all kind of started walking, there's a lot of evidence coming out now. We all came from Ethiopia in some sense. Some has pointed out some up north stuff too. But I mean, if you want to go back to Pangea, right, all the continents are connected. We begin to adventure out. Some groups go this way, some groups go this way. We start to spread out. Then we inbred with Neanderthal and other Homo sapien. That's not Homo sapien. We're Homo sapien. Right. Homo pappus, right? So we all had to kind of mix around a little bit, because on those genetic tests, you can actually see what percentage Neanderthal that we are. Right. And a fact actually is whites grade higher, I say grade higher, come back with a higher percentage of Neanderthal than any minority or any blacks. If any, black and Latino are very low, if any, on the Neanderthal mix. Right. And it's this white jughead, you know what I mean? It was an interesting thing for that to come out.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I just felt like it was a great opportunity to re-educate not just African Americans, but also the world on where racism came from, and how and the construct of how diversity was something that evolved from all humans being in one location, to where once the Ice Age took grip of the planet, how we all separated, and based off our geographical location, our bodies naturally adjusted to the environment.
So race is really bullshit.
Yes, it's not bull.
Culture is added to it.
Yes,
but if I remove the actual skin tone, right, as the one, let's just say the dummy that's going, oh, different color person, different race, when it's just it changed because you didn't need it. You know what I mean? You go north into the Nordics and you start to go up there. There's no sun.
Right. So your body's going to produce less melanin.
Right.
And then the further south, or the closer to the equator you get, especially when you get into a lower altitude, your body's going to need more melanin to protect yourself from the skin. Yeah. And now, obviously, the other features are going to change. So your nostrils is going to become thicker if you're in a hotter climate, because obviously it needs to absorb more oxygen. Versus when you're in colder climates, the air is so thin that your nostrils can become more narrow and longer because it doesn't need to absorb as much oxygen. Now,
and what about the eye color change? Why does that happen?
Skin pigmentation also. So, so the amount of melanin, in your eyes is also based off that.
Keep going.
Yeah. So that's how it works. But at the end of the day, we're all people. So we're all humans, and honestly, that's just a shell of who we are.
Yeah, see, I was just looking up. The colored part of the eye is called the iris, which has pigmentation that determines our eye color, just like you said.
Yeah. So
yeah, her eyes may be blue only temporarily. Baby's eyes can change color if the brown pigment melanin develops as they grow. Human eye color originates with 3 genes, 2 of which are well understood.
Right. So it's getting people past the surface level of who we are.
Right? It seems when you hear this, you seem like fucking idiots, man.
Yeah.
You're literally looking around when it's really the culture itself over groups of people that tribally commit to each other and pass on traditions of the way things used to be and how we do it, how we've always done around here, and it develops into these cultures, right? What's the first word of culture anyway? Cult.
Right. But it's short for cultivate. So it's how we cultivate things. So it's how we build upon.
Yeah.
And typically, if we want to change the culture of America and eliminate racism, we all have to get on board.
Do you think we'd ever really get there?
I think we will, because honestly, Generation X and the millennials that everybody keep talking about, that's going to be the generation to make the change, because we're seeing them make the change now.
For sure.
Even comedians like if you go to a crowd that's a millennial, you can't not make jokes about somebody because of their race or their gender or their sex.
Or you can't say shit.
Right. You'll get booed off stage.
Oh my God.
So they're doing an amazing job on that.
It's pretty harsh though, because I think Dave Chappelle said at the end of his last stand-up that he did, where it's like, it's up to comedians to keep this shit going, where we can talk about whatever, laugh about whatever, and not feel afraid to point out things. I think comedians play a role sometimes of that, is pointing out some cliche shit, that makes it okay to laugh at, and you're like, and maybe that helps numb it down over the years, with the leftist progressive movement, right? I mean, I don't associate with any side. They take a lot of shit, right? But their argument kind of is weird, because it's like, I'm all down for the open liberalism, right? Of accept everybody, right? I mean, even to say you don't see color is racist, technically.
It is racist.
Yeah, it is.
Because you do see color.
Right. There's a lot of people that point that out. And then even there's a lady online, I can't remember her name. She's talking to kids in class, and one of the white kids talks, well, I don't see color. I don't care if you're black, yellow, purple, or green. And then she goes, you just automatically connected them to aliens or Martians by saying that. And so I'm like, shit, she's right. You know what I mean? You kind of connected that. But this argument of, accept all, right? It doesn't, if you identify as a woman, it doesn't matter, and you're a guy, right? All this other loose leaf stuff that's open. I think there's 75 pronouns now to use. Yeah, there's 75 different pronouns. But the idea is, but if you don't think like we do, then you're fucking out.
Right.
So it's like, wait a minute, you're accepting everybody, there's some good positives to what they're doing. And then there's this, but if you don't think like us, you're out, which is kind of, I don't know, oxymoron to what they're saying.
Yeah, it's they don't know it though. They're just not aware. Like, honestly, if they was to listen to themselves and think about what they just stated in the video, then they'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I'm a little off.
Yeah, I wonder. This all started from asking if we ever think racism would ever go away, and
it will.
I hope it does, and I hope it does. Maybe if the culture changes over time.
Yes. So that's what it's about. It's about changing the culture. It's about changing the culture. Because in this documentary, you got white people in this movie. You got blacks in it. Well, you got whites in this documentary. You got blacks in this documentary. One white lady, she's a lawyer in Tampa, and she talks about how they can have the same exact crime, and 2 totally separate sentences. One to get 6 months probation, the other one to get 20 years in prison.
Oh yeah, no shit. Yeah, that's legit.
And it's the culture. So it's the culture of the legal system, but the culture of the legal system is based off the foundation of the culture of how America really works. So until we figure out, and we have solutions. That's the crazy part. It doesn't just point at the problem. It brings solutions by saying, "Well, look, now blacks, we keep complaining about jury duty and avoiding jury duty. This is a solution to it.
Yeah, it's part of it. Sure.
Yeah, sure. You can't get upset at the legal system if you're not doing your part and doing jury duty. Stop dodging jury duty.
Now, what if I said that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna get fucking emails if I say that shit.
You could get emails. You know, they will shoot some emails at you. But
or I'm gonna get shit if I said that.
Right. So for me as a black male,
that's kind of your point, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So because why should you get penalized by pointing out the truth, and you just have less melanin in your skin than I do?
Not much less. Native showing.
Well, I mean, you know, you've been in the sun a little bit too, so
yeah, a little bit, man. I turn almost full Native American if I'm in the sun for a day, man. I go dark, but it's just melanin, right? Son? I mean, do you think we could get to a place, right, to where it's just we don't even say black or white, it's just person?
We're getting there. It's coming. Honestly, it's a part of human evolution. First we change physically and then we change mentally. But typically what's happening now is we're so far behind mentally that we're now starting to catch up mentally. So
we're scarily behind mentally, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's terrifying.
But it's because nobody cared to change the culture. So that's why I'm so big on the Melanin Code, because Melanin Code is a program to change the culture. So imagine, because I just had a conference. So I just did a conference in Orlando, and I had a dialogue. So every time kids come up, they say, "So what's the Melanin Code about?" Because it has a rope with a roll of money in it. So they're like, "So what's that about?"
It's all about the money,
right? So that's what it was saying. It was saying, "Look, people are enslaved to money, and if you don't want to be hung by it, then these are the things that we must do."
Brilliant, artistically,
right? So for me, it's dear to me because I got a lot of different friends, and to be honest with you, most of my friends aren't deep in melanin. You know, most of my friends are Egyptian. Well, some of my friends are Egyptian, Asian. I got some African friends. I got some Haitian friends.
You're racist, Mike. You're starting to point out. I got a black friend. I can't be racist. So
it's but when we get together, we deal with each other because of our hearts and the content of our character, and not because of how we look. I mean,
you do see that in the younger generation.
Yeah, you do,
which is a beautiful thing.
Right. So it's like whatever choices you make in your personal life, who cares? Obviously the way you look, that doesn't really determine who you are as an individual anyway. We're going to look at your heart and we're going to look at your soul, and that's what we're going to make our judgment off of. So that's why I like it. So it's an introduction to point in the face of people. Hey, listen,
you're bickering over bullshit,
right?
Like literally, what you see as a skin color is a surface of science. Really, you're just watching science change.
Yeah,
nothing else.
Right. So I mean, and so just off that's the first part, and then the second part is, so Marcus used to work at Chick-fil-A, right? And when he worked at Chick-fil-A,
shout out Chick-fil-A. You'd like to sponsor the show? No.
Please be open one Sunday, just one Sunday.
One Sunday, right?
Yo,
give it up to them, though, right? You know how much money they're giving up on a Sunday,
but they make it back because people are going to go there Saturday knowing that they won't want to open Sunday.
That's true. And then when you miss it Sunday, you're like, I'm going Monday.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could do a study. I probably did a study on that. They probably did somewhere.
I don't think now Chick-fil-A is also they're also known for having some of the best quality customer service at the most,
and that's real,
bro. Look, you can be backed up on I-4 at Chick-fil-A and you're out of there in 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're fast, and if they're not, and they're always kind.
Oh yeah,
I haven't. Yeah, that's true.
So
I say always. I'm generalizing, but I'm sure somebody's gone through there and been like, "Fuck them." You know what I mean?
Right. So from that, he wanted to produce a code of ethics for humans. So just the same way Chick-fil-A has a code of ethics, he said, "Well, blacks, we need to have a code of ethics, and the rest of the world, we should all follow the same code of ethics."
Yeah.
So
talk about to the whirlwind code of ethics in our White House went to. Dude, everybody should watch this. I watched this. I think there's 4 series in it. It's called Dirty Money on Netflix. And I went through. They got 5 episodes. They start out with the Volkswagen thing, then they go to a couple other things and some Wall Street crap, and then the last one is on Donald Trump.
Right.
Now, they interviewed 7 different authors, people that wrote books for him, against him, right? I mean, I'm watching it for bias, trying to go, all right, I know you're trying to hate on him, you know, or whatever. So I'm watching it for that purpose. And it seemed fair and balanced to me, man. And I walked through and I'm going, the guy who started the Department of Code of Ethics for the White House, he was there for 4 or 5 of our last presidents, resigned. He's like, I'm out. I'm not even taking part in this, and it's getting dismantled, man. It was crazy. It's crazy when you see that from the top, and then when you watch that, I think it's the last episode. Yes, the last episode on Dirty Money on Netflix. You turn it off and I just stare at the screen for a minute, like, how the fuck did we get here? What the? I mean, I could probably walk through how we got here, but holy shit, from the top down,
it's needed though. To be honest, at first I didn't like that fact that Donald Trump was in office, but now I like the fact that Donald Trump is in office.
Go on,
because for one, people wouldn't have tightened up and start getting their act together. Typically doing controversy, or typically doing a time of, what's the word I want to use? Typically during a time of struggle, everybody tends to look at each other and focus on one common goal. Right now, I feel like if Bernie Sanders would have went in, then people would have still been lackadaisical, and a lot of issues would have been overlooked, and nobody wouldn't have tried to work together. Yeah. But due to the fact that Donald Trump is in office, people are starting to work together who don't like him.
Well, right. Okay. Right? I see where you're going.
So due to the fact that Donald
it's putting some of the red and blue together.
Right. Exactly. So due to the fact that Donald Trump is in office, people are actually starting to work together and treat each other accordingly. Right. So I mean, when Obama was in, Democrats and Republicans, they weren't looking eye to eye. They was right. But now you see that everybody has one common focus.
At least there's a couple Republicans and a couple Democrats that lean middle, kind of going, can we at least agree?
Right.
Can we do something?
See what I'm saying? So I'm glad that he's in office now, because it's forcing people to work together, because they realize if they don't work together,
who's next?
At this point, it's going to get worse. Now, do I want to give him a high five for making it in there? No. Do I want to go down and sit? Do I want to go eat with him? No. Do I share some of the same beliefs? Some, but when it come down to like a lot of other things, I don't.
Yeah, it was nuts, dude. Learning about his business empire, it's all bullshit. It's all. I mean, he bankrupted 5 times.
Well, they're separate businesses.
I get it, but it's still. I mean, he ruined Jersey, Atlantic City, and the Taj Mahal. He owed people millions of dollars, contractors and stuff. He just never paid. He was left way more than $1 million from his daddy, as the myth he put out there that he got him. And I love it. He goes, I got a small loan from my dad, $1 million. I'm like, what you talking about? Give me $1 million.
It's relative.
Right.
It's all relative.
So, I mean, and he was terrible. I mean, his casinos all closed down. I mean, he only licensed his name out. The Apprentice made him. They actually interview the guys who produced the show, The Apprentice show. And they're going, well, we used Donald Trump as a joke. We thought it would be funny that this guy that lives in a golden palace that he doesn't pay for, that has no businesses, who's bankrupt multiple times, has crashed businesses everywhere, he's the guy in the chair firing and hiring and firing. They thought this was supposed to be a joke. And they spruced up his office to make it look the way. There was no boardroom like there was. They made all this on set,
right,
and turned him into this guy. And they're like, we didn't know it kind of backfire that way. That people, all of a sudden his brand pops out again as like this rich business guy. And they go into the hip hop version of it too, where how many hip hop artists would bring him up as I'm living like Donald Trump, or catch me down at Trump Plaza, right? They were pointing him out, comparing him, I think, once to Steve Jobs. I think Nelly says it in the song, but it's just like, man, he sold a brand and put off success, none of which was really true.
Right. It was all.
Yeah, but we bought into that in America.
Propaganda.
We all bought into it. Or not all of us bought into it in America, as if this celebrity contest, it's interesting, man. It was weird to watch that whole thing and kind of sit back and then see how that came to be, and how whoever's rich and powerful. This personal opinion, I don't think we should even have a president. I personal opinion, I don't think we could. The fact that we still look for the head chimp in charge is pretty ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's really like one dude or one lady, one person is going to run this whole thing. Really? I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean?
Too many moving parts.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm down with the committee. I mean, we're supposed to have a committee with Congress and Senate and all that stuff, but those people staying there forever. There's ways to change, but money in politics, I will go off on. I've been ranting about this at home lately. I really have been.
So just to keep it basic.
By the way, all the Republican viewers of the show have signed off.
Oh, they have.
I watched the numbers as I started to kind of question Trump, and it went and it went down. I'm like, how did I become a right-wing podcast, man? I'm like, is it the elephant? I think it's the elephant.
Oh,
I was wearing that shirt, the Cognitive Rampage shirt, around election time.
Right.
And people would walk up and kind of give me this right-wing fist bump. You know, I'm like, hey, that's right. The right's got to stick together. I'm like, right. What are you talking about? It says cognitive rampage, man. Well, the elephant. I'm like, it has butterfly wings unless you're eating psychedelics.
They just see the elephant.
Isn't that weird?
They just see the common ground that you have with them.
I mean, it's a psychedelic elephant. I mean, it has butterfly wings for ears, and they're all like, yeah, right wing. I'm like, wait, what? Oh no.
Yeah. See? But that's, you know, so that's what it's about, man. And that's what my focus has been. Cause you know, I'm still in the education system.
Yeah.
But part of our development is on a personal side, we got to start checking ourselves, man. We got to start checking ourselves to see, you know, what areas are we treating each other based off this color of our skin and not the content of our character. So,
oh man, that first initial judgment. I listen to Rogan probably too much, and he talks about it would be funny if we reach a day to where we could almost read each other's minds, where you can't lie anymore. You know what the other person's thinking. You're kind of walking up going, what, really? You know what I mean? And if that first thing would come out and then another 100 years later, then eventually racism would be gone because it would just be evolutionary, unlearned in a sense, because you couldn't.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the other part, is understanding. So science is how things work. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So people may misinterpret science.
All the time.
Right. And racism is something to where a lot of most people who can, like, especially when we get into the concept of white supremacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in white supremacy, they think that black people came from apes and white people just came from something else, right?
Right.
It's the weirdest thing in the world, right?
Is this on that documentary? You interview a couple people that say that?
No, it's not, but it's something that that you can, I mean, even when you start watching
it's
videos,
a cliche thing,
right? Right. So that's why they say, oh, what was it? Who did it? Who did that video? Actually, man, what is it? The funniest monkey in the jungle or something like that. One of those clothing lines did it. I can't quite remember. It's not off the top of my head.
I don't know. But go ahead.
But when they did it, people found it racist. So people became so sensitive to it.
I can see that.
And once they became sensitive to it, then it just got me to a space where I was like, okay, so let's make sure we all understand that we all come from the same place. And when people when people decided to dehumanize people because of the color, because of the amount of melanin in their skin, then that felt like that gave them a right to start treating people a certain way, all the way back from slavery. So when we started getting traded from West Africa to the United States, they wanted to find an excuse on why they should treat
why they were allowed
blacks a certain way. So you
got to pitch the propaganda, create the bullshit backstory. Well, my people, the Native American people, savages.
Right.
We were savages. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, whoa, dude. Come on, you've just named your Washington D.C. football team after savages, but I'll leave it there.
There's if you ever go to Tampa, they have some podiums that with stories on them, and there was one about the story of Andrew Jackson and how he told the Indians that he'll supply them with blankets and with food and everything else that was supposed to be supplied from the early United States, and he reneged on it. So he reneged on it so bad that they became hungry, and he ended up kicking them out and sending them out of the Tampa area, and tried to ship them northwest.
It's about the Trail of Tears. Is this what you're linking to?
It's one of them.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if that was a Trail of Tears, because this was just a certain story. It didn't say the Trail of Tears on it, but
so probably not.
Yeah, but I mean, but I started to see the same trend. You know, I started to see the same trend of even now. Instead of people being conditioned to work for what they get, they decided to say, you know what? Let's put people on food stamps. Let's give people all these supplies. Let's make sure that people aren't productive, so that way we can control them. And then when it's time, what we'll do is, if they don't want to do what we say, then we're gonna send them. Then we'll deal with them accordingly.
I see what you're shaping here.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not
shit I can't say.
Right.
But yeah, I could from the white side.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, because I mean, because
it's not even a black thing. It's a you know. So from this, I started to see how
more of that
history
together, because some people watching may be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
All right, so
because I see it where it's like, all right, if I enable them, I cut them off at the leg, so to speak. right? And then
Right.
they get used to being fed, get
Right.
used to that, but not enough to where you live in abundance whatsoever.
Yeah, you're
But
not
just-
living.
yeah.
You're barely getting by.
Right, you barely get by, so keep you struggling, keep you wanting, and then when we need to, oh fuck, man.
Yeah, and that's what's happening.
Wow.
So when Donald Trump decided to cut the food stamps back, that was part of it. So all of this is there's a bigger play. So the bigger play is whoever isn't productive and whoever can't get it on their own. If the government has to provide for you, the government is going to control you.
Yeah.
But
well, it already controls about where you can live. Section 8 housing.
right,
It's only this area.
and in Section 8 housing, you can't have a man in the house.
What?
Yeah. If you, I'm sorry. So like let's say you're a woman with a kid.
Uh-huh.
If a man moves in, you got to get out.
Okay.
Man can't live with you.
Wow.
So it pushed. I mean, and so in Trick, like, so Trick Daddy has a documentary out about his life. And they had it in the story, but about Trick Daddy. So, you know, Trick Daddy was like, yeah, well, you know, well, my mom and I got a lot of brothers and sisters, and all the men that we saw were the postmen, the mailmen, the guys who did construction. They'd come over, but they knew that they couldn't stay there, because if they stayed there, then the government would eliminate all the funding, or all the food and all the funding for the mom and the children. So it was a way to keep the men out of the house.
Yeah. Keep the families divided.
Right.
Wow.
So and this was just,
Well, see, then if you move the man in, then either the mother's going to be now dependent on him to be there, and or the government.
Right.
Wow.
So
Holy shit.
she had a choice, and that's what the projects was about.
Mm-hmm.
The projects was a project to see.
Right now, when you say it like that, it's kind of fucked up.
It is. That's what it is.
When you're like, let's try this project.
Yeah.
And now it's the projects because it was a fucking project. You don't treat people
That's
like
why
that.
they call it the projects.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the project where we're going to try this. And then if you still look at the hood and the rest of the projects now, they're going to sit back and say, okay, so this is what we'll do next. So now we're going to put liquor stores on every corner. We're going to get these liquor stores approved on every corner.
Oh, and they do. You ain't going to find that shit out here.
Right.
You drive through any suburb out here, good luck.
Yeah. And you're not in
Publix. You can go to Publix liquor store, but there's no like Johnny's Liquor right there.
And you're not going to see a gun shop anywhere near it either. Not out here. But if you go to Pine Hills, where you're born, where you're from,
pawn shop, yeah,
pawn shop, liquor store, pawn shop, liquor store,
church. Yeah,
right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the projects was a place to where they want to see if people, if you give them all the tools to diminish and kill themselves, will they?
Yeah, of course.
And of course they picking the poison.
Well, you break them first. You make it hard to even get a job. You arrest them a bunch of times so you can't even get a fucking job.
Right.
I mean, you set them up to fail.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So I mean, so that was the project. So now what you see now is the byproduct of a project of what happened in the initial projects. So, you know, with so many of us not having families and having so many broken homes because we came from the projects, this is what you get. So they just wanted to sit back and say, okay, so they were enslaved physically.
And some white people have the audacity to sit back and say, well, you're making the choice. You're doing the violence. You're without backing it all the way up to the environment that created the outcomes to which we're seeing now.
Exactly. So nobody blames the
Again,
tree.
short-sighted.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
nobody blames the tree for the soil it was planted in on why it didn't turn out to be a phenomenal tree. You always blame the farmer for not producing the proper soil for the nutrients that the tree needed to grow.
Which we know, just talking about any child in any place, right? We talk about the school environment, we talk about the home environment, these things we all know and speak about it, but we'll just kind of throw that out.
No, let's bring that on in. You know, kids are my thing. Let's bring that right on in.
Well, I'm just meaning, and I'm talking about the racist person.
Oh, yeah.
Even the one that may be subtly racist, right? That doesn't realize it, where they're going, well, why don't they pull their communities together, right? And da-da-da, and you're like, this shit was a setup from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me twisted, there's white trailer parks that are going through the same shit. You know what I mean? Kind of moved to areas and then underfunded, the whole kind of whole setup, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So for me, I just, I love humans. I love people. Now, obviously, since I have a lot of melanin in my skin, I have a more common relation to people of my skin tone because I know that they've been treated the way that I've been treated. So it's two separate worlds. but it's when you get a chance to bring somebody else in your like. So my friend Jake, Jake, I used to work at Roxy with Jake. We went to.
I remember Jake.
Yeah, you remember Jake?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So with Jake, Jake was a bar back at the time when he was working there.
Yeah, he had a dark shaved head. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. I remember.
So Jake, we was at work one night, and I was behind the bar. I had the front bar, so I was down. I was a bar back, so I was down in the bar, putting the beer in the containers, and putting the bottles back in because Bosco weighed the bar. So while I was doing that, one guy, it was a new bartender, brand new. He said, Jake, I got a joke for you. He said, there was a spick, there was a nigger. He said, hold on. Hey, Mike, I want you to hear this. Come here.
What the fuck?
I picked my head up. He said, all right, well, there was this Latin guy, there was this black guy.
Flipped it up, right?
Flipped it up real fast.
Yeah, Bill Burr has a joke about racism and real racism in America is not out there. People look around first, then they say the racist joke.
Right.
They didn't even do that.
Yes. So Jake got a chance to see it on so many different levels. Even when we would go out. Now obviously I wasn't the guy to go out and party, but let's say we had every year a lot of the clubs, they get together and they go do their community service down there at what is that called now? Camping Stadium.
Oh yeah, Camping World Stadium.
Yeah, Camping World Stadium.
Yeah. Sounds so bad, doesn't it? It's terrible. It was the Citrus Bowl.
Right.
It's the Citrus Bowl.
That's what I was going to call it, the Citrus Bowl.
That's what it is.
Right. So
it can't be the Camping World Stadium. It's ridiculous.
So we went down there and Jake asked for a beer and I asked for a beer. This one I was drinking. So the guy gave Jake a beer and ignored me. So Jake said, there's racism sticking his ugly head up once again. And the guy just looked, and then he walked off. And then the lady came, and then the lady gave me my beer. She said, "Well, what happened?" I said, "I don't know. Ask Jake." So she asked Jake, and Jake said, "Man, this guy, Mike asked for a beer before I did, and then I got me." So the guy gave me my beer, popped the lid off, and handed me my beer, and just stood there. And then I looked at him and said, "Well, you didn't give my friend his beer. He asked first. I wanted the beer because he wanted the beer, because Mike don't really drink."
Yeah.
So the guy just walked off. So when the girl came and gave us both and gave me my beer, then that's when. Well, before that happened, then that's when Jake said, "Well, there's racism sticking his ugly head up once again."
Shit.
And the guy really wasn't excited about it. So I didn't see him. I didn't see that guy back for the rest of the evening. But I mean, Jake got a chance to see things just in the face. So once he got a chance to acknowledge it, then it kind of put him in a space like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So,
it irks me, man, when I think of areas like I don't know, Chicago, right? South Side Chicago, right? I mean, what are some of the nicknames? Beirut, right? I mean, it's terrible.
Right.
I mean, it's shit. It's bad. People getting murdered, right? When I think about these kind of areas, Compton, pick one, right? And I mean, shit, you can go West Virginia too right now with the drug issue. When I think about those areas and how the billions of dollars we spend overseas trying to help other countries right out of poverty or whatever the hell or at least whatever they're pitching is the reason why we're there. I know they're for natural resources and controlling, but when we spend that kind of money to do that, and in our own country, there's places like South Central, right, where we could go in there and help. I mean, yeah, gentrification too and a bunch of other crap that's happening, but that we just allow that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think Eminem, right, said it on a song. It's like, I'm glad I brought attention to the suburbs, because now the white kids are singing rap in the suburbs, and the parents like, oh no, we can't have this in the suburbs. But bringing attention to the fact that if that was a suburb, right, let's just say this suburb right here, all of a sudden we have the same amount of shootouts and gang violence as they do in South Central. What would happen? You know what I mean? It would be a total. People would be outraged. It'd be like, yo, you can't have this. When I don't think people really understand how bad those areas really are. But we're talking about the backstory of how those areas set up and to be the project that way. Of what we could do. You know what I mean? What we could really do spending those billions of dollars here in America.
Well, to be honest, it's not a money issue. It's an education issue. Until we educate each other on that, then it's going to continuously happen. So that's why they say the revolution will not be televised. A revolution can't be televised because it's going to be an evolution of the mentality. So you can't watch somebody's mentality shift through a TV screen. So But that's what it's really about. It's really about helping people. It's because think about it. Everything that we're doing right now, even when you look at politics and so forth, or TV shows, and they're looking for ratings, what they're really doing is they're really trying to catch your mind. Whatever, like everybody wants your attention. So remember when people say pay attention, right? Pay means it's a trade, and attention is focus. So they're willing to trade your time for your focus, because whatever TV shows get the highest focus amongst the minds of people, those are the ones who can shell out, who can ask for the most money for commercials.
Yeah, advertising now.
Right. So everything is it's a magnet to see if they can get your focus. If they can get your mind,
attention is the new currency.
That's it.
Sure.
That's the real currency. The real currency is if I can get your mind, I got you. So if they got your mind, now they have your attention. Now they can program you however they want to program you. So it's really the minds of the people now.
Yeah.
So and that's why
I can hear all the conspiracy theorists now jumping in with 5G that they're putting out across the globe right now is supposed to slow down cognition, thinking. I mean, I can hear it now. There's some worry, even in me, about the 5G stuff that they're letting loose over our country. Dr. Jack Cruz, a neurosurgeon who's been on the podcast a bunch, he's putting out a whole bunch of warnings and has been on the show about the issues of 5G and our neuro enhancement or de-enhancement, really, neurodegeneration, a whole bunch of cognitive issues that happen when this 5G kind of starts to spread all over. I can hear the mind control people, right? I can hear them where they're like, you're crazy, you know, but it's just too much, I think, for some people to really think about.
It is, but you know, my favorite show was The Matrix, because The Matrix teaches you how to unplug. So The Matrix teaches you, despite what we see in The Matrix is everything physical, everything that's tangible, but it doesn't really exist.
It's not real.
Right, exactly. But there's a spiritual realm, like there are other realms. There's a mental realm, there's a spiritual realm that people aren't in tune with. But once you learn how to unplug, then that 5G can't affect you. Like, think about it. Every time we watch The Matrix and we watch them get unplugged from The Matrix, then it didn't matter what was happening in The Matrix. It didn't affect us.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I like to think how, you know, Neo thought he was the one, and he's not the one, and then I think that was indirectly trying to say we're all the one, as long as you believe it.
Right.
If you believe you're the one, then we all are the one to be able to change the world. That you're all the one to do this.
Because only thing that they kept doing was training his faith.
Yeah, belief in himself.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, his stuff is off the charts, because they didn't have the amount of faith that Neo had.
Yeah.
So that's what separated Neo from everybody else, was his level of faith. Now, which
was shit faith in the beginning.
Right.
In the beginning, he was, wow.
He had enough as a mustard seed.
I see you're curving into the spiritual thing. I see what you're doing.
There it is.
I see what you're doing there.
And honestly, so, you know, I just made 9 years of celibacy. But people keep thinking, man, bro, that must be crazy. No, it's because I live into, like, I unplugged. Like, I don't, like, my physical flesh is nothing to me now. Like, I've learned how to master my flesh. This was really about me learning how to master my flesh.
Well, most people sitting across from me that would have heard that, it would have been like, what the fuck, really? And then I've known that before, so it didn't. That's why I didn't freak out. So I was like, yeah, because typically I'd have been like, what?
Yeah.
You know, what? How you do it? It was interesting though. You were talking on the porch back there before we came in about what unplugging from that, right? Literally and metaphorically.
I see what you did.
Yeah, you see what I did there. Literally unplugging from that, what it allowed you to do or stopped you from doing. Walk through kind of what that's like, because I know if anybody's here in 9 years celibacy, first people are going to be like, by choice, you know. I'm like, I tell a friend of mine that once before. I was like, yeah, my boy Mike, man, got some serious discipline, man. And, you know, 9 years, and his first question was like, that by choice? He's just ugly. I was like, no, actually, he could certainly be bullied if he wanted to, which makes it even better. You know what I mean? It's like, shit. But what's that done for you though, man? I mean, really unplugging from I don't know if any of that.
So it allows me to focus. I see things so far in advance before others. Like when I have dialogue with people now, or, you know, when somebody's trying to coach me or feel like they were trying to convince me to do something, I can see where their heart is at. Like, literally, I can see past the flesh, and I can see that they have a pure space of where they're trying to put me. So it allows me to have this level of discernment where I can kind of like detect and say, okay.
All right. So that's made you crazy. I got you.
Yeah, so it works, man. And honestly, so even when it come down to females, so a lot of the females that know I'm celibate, and I mean, and so on my Facebook page, like, they know I'm celibate.
You get the girls that are trying to be the one to break it.
I used to get those.
You know what I mean? I can see where the girls are like, oh, I'll be the one.
Yeah.
I'll break it.
Man, listen.
Yeah.
I've seen it. That was early. Now I'm a whole now I'm so more advanced that I don't even put myself in that kind of position.
Sure. Yeah.
So now there's no, well, I know where you stay. I'm coming by the house. No, you're not.
What made you decide that?
Decide what to be
to
celibate?
do that? Yeah.
Man, it was just a lot.
How bad was she? I'm kidding.
It was a lot going on, man. It was from one of my partners committing suicide.
Shit.
I wasn't doing great in school. Me and my dad bumped heads.
When you say partner, just a friend.
Yeah, so one of my close friends, his name Money Mark. But he committed suicide. So once he committed suicide, man, because I talked to him 2 days before. I talked to him 2 days before, and then and because I used to confide in him. He'll call me like, hey, bro, what's up, man? Bro, you good? Man, talk to me, bro. Man, what you got going on, bro? Man, you ain't look, man. Hey, man, you ain't coming out with nobody, man. The fella saying that you just trying to be in isolation, man. Talk to me. And around this time, that was the time that I had issue with law enforcement. So law enforcement pulled me over, pointed their firearm in my window till I came to a complete stop. So it was already me thinking that my life isn't worth much. Because if somebody's alive, because if he would have just pulled the trigger, that was it.
That was it, yeah.
But then it kind of put you to a space where you're like, I spent 27 years of my life to be where I am. What do I have to show for it?
Dang. So that one moment, yeah.
Right? So and I mean, it was 2 years of depression, man. So 2 years of depression. Now, while I was in that depression, obviously, I was messing around. I thought that my fix would be sex, and
Sure.
and it just didn't cure it. So it was that. It was issues with pops. It was living check to check. It was moments of reflection where I started sitting back and being like, what am I doing? I spent 80% of my time chasing women, drinking, working in nightclubs, playing basketball and video games, and only 20% of my time trying to be successful. So I was only 20% successful. So there I am. Had a roommate that I was bumping heads with, and things just weren't going my way. So I said, you know what? Let me start getting off into this Bible a little bit. So the more I started studying and reading the Bible, then I started understanding things from the spiritual realm. And then one of my friends, her name Autumn Blaze, she put out she had a poem that she was doing, and it was, and one of the stanzas was, to my powerful young black brothers. She said, your dick has your blessings in a headlock and it's preventing you from what God has commissioned for you to do. Whew. Man, that thing hit me like a V8.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, celibate.
No shit.
Because I knew I was smart enough to where if I would have put the same amount of energy that I did having sex and chasing women into being successful, I would have been successful. I'd have been a millionaire.
Yeah, it's when you say it like this, seems a lot logical, very logical.
Right. So I said, you know what? It's time to make that switch.
Man, so you went all the way. It's almost like resetting the whole board. You kind of just said, I talk about that in my book a little bit, is if you're really wanting to change, get rid of everything. Go all the way back down to the base of you. Get rid of the friends, people, places, things, the stuff, places you do, the stuff you have. Just go down to bare nothing, and then start to rebuild from there in different places, people, places, things, and new beliefs. So yeah, you kind of just, I see you now. I'm trying to be in the mind frame of what makes a man in the middle go, all right, I'm gonna just clear the whole board.
Yeah, because I mean I was going downhill. So it's like, so the definition of repent means to stop doing what you're doing and go the other direction. So I was coming downhill for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I had enough.
I've heard you were not a very nice guy.
Yeah, no, well, I was cool. I just
no, I didn't say cool. I heard you could get pretty angry.
Oh yeah. Now I had spaces. I had a temper, still got it, but I learned how to manage it now.
Yeah.
But I can get to a space where I'm like, you know what? Nothing matters now. Everything, like whatever you wanted, you've earned it. Now let's get to work. and I'm not gonna stop till I'm tired. There's nobody's gonna tell me to stop.
Yeah.
Because when I was young, I used to have anger. I used to fight until I was tired.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care who's tired. I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
I gave y'all the warnings.
Yeah.
Not nobody wanted to heed to the warnings. Now you don't get it. You don't get the right to tell me when to stop. Yeah. I'll tell you when I'm done.
I'm thinking of two people right now. I'm like, I gotta go right now. It's weird, man, because ever since I kind of went into the psychology, writing the books, getting a degree, and dude, I always use Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction. I'm trying real hard, Ringo, and I feel like trying to be a little different, at least from because I was pretty angry myself, for a long time, and quite violent. And man, I have been tested over the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I mean, even, to where it seems like, man, there was a time that this wouldn't even, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been here, and it beats my ego up for a while when I'm walking around like, wow, how did I just shut up? You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not that guy anymore. Right. It's hard to make those changes, man. So elaborate more on 2 years in, 3 years in of being celibate. What things started opening up for you?
So my first year, I don't even think I made a year yet. My first year, actually, probably my first 4 months. My first 4 months of being celibate.
Did you have like withdrawals, like heroin? Man, were you literally withdrawing? Now I gotta ask: does this mean celibate from your own hands?
No. So here's the difference between celibacy.
Okay. All right. I'm feeling a little better for you now.
So look. So celibacy. All right. So abstinence means no sex, no active sex at all.
Okay.
On any level.
All right.
Not even with yourself. I'm not abstinent. I'm celibate.
Okay.
So celibacy just means that you're not going to have sex you're not going to have sex with somebody.
Now you're maintaining. Gotcha.
Right. You see what I'm saying? I'm always happy, man.
That's funny.
Because people get so stuck into thinking that it's a religious thing and it's a spiritual thing.
That's true. That's usually the first thing somebody will say if I mention that to them or something like that. The first thing they're like, "Oh, is he Christian? Or is he Lutheran?
Right,
is he?"
But they can't even tell you what Christianity is.
Yeah, well, so right, we're about to make a hard left right now.
Right. So I'm gonna stick to it. So I just chose. So celibacy for me is a way of being obedient and a way of protecting myself.
Mm.
You can never catch an STD if you just having sex with yourself
or have a maybe baby.
Right now here we go. On the physical side, if we don't ejaculate, your testosterone levels are going to decrease naturally.
There's some medical things with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have higher chances of getting pancreatic cancer,
killing someone,
and killing someone. So it just keeps
really?
So it keeps your hormone levels right, and then it kind of simmers you down and tones you down. So that's one of the biggest things about it is as a man you have to. If you don't, now your body's not going to function properly, and you'll be more prone to have more emotional rages than anything.
Yeah, I gotta watch my Google search. I start Google searching this shit, and I'm like, what's popping up? And I'm like, oh wait, what popped up is that if a man doesn't ejaculate, scientific, right? And it's just a bunch of talk or messaging boards of women asking if it's okay if it's like they're blaming themselves. It's all the kind of why isn't he? He's just not that into you. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, that's not what I'm looking for, man. I'm just the science behind it. But go ahead, man.
Yeah. So it's like. There are muscles that you must exercise. If I stop working out, like if I don't run, my lungs are gonna go bad.
I get you.
And I'm gonna get married at some point.
Yeah. You don't want to be that.
I don't want her to suffer because of my celibacy.
Sure.
I got to keep myself tight. I got to make sure that when I do get into that bedroom with her, I'm gonna give her the best of me, so that way she can be like, "You've been training, huh?"
Oh man, whoever you do marry, and so you waiting to get married to do that.
So I'm gonna wait till I get married.
All right, so you wait till you get married to do that. Whoever you are out there that ends up marrying Mike, man, that first year of your life, God bless you. God bless you. She's gonna be in trouble, man.
It's gonna be a lot of hotel.
No, I mean, there's some, right? There's some in today's climate that would say, you got to sleep with him first, or you got to sleep with her first before you even get married or any of that. Because what if you get married and it's terrible and there's no vibe there or whatever?
See, the thing is our relationship isn't going to be based on sex. Sex isn't the foundation of our relationship.
Sure.
That's the problem with most people. Most people, the foundation of their relationship is sex. That's why when they go give it to somebody else, then they feel so betrayed. So they feel like they've lost trust because they lost the foundation because their relationship was based on sex.
So if that's the ultimate, cheat,
right?
Is if you slept with somebody else, So, yeah, I think you could pose a question, right? What would hurt a lady or a guy worse is if they had an emotional relationship where they connected with the other person cerebrally and never fucked or anything. Or they didn't connect at all, no love, just physical, and all they did was fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? I may run that poll on this after I post it, right? Yeah. What would be worse to the person? You know what I mean?
It depends, because what's the first thing women say? Did you love him? Did you love her?
Right. Guys like, how big was he?
Right. Was he bigger than me? Yes. No.
Yeah. Right. They fall out. Yeah, it's true.
Now she's
we're generalizing people, so it's not scientific. All right.
So typically what we tend to see is we'll tend to see guys who don't think as much because we're external, but women, they take it to heart because they're internal. Now, but if you're connecting, right? I'm back to you, whoever you marry here, who's going to be in trouble for a couple years. We were talking, but you'll be connected in a totally different way, right? So marriage is supposed to be spiritual.
All I pictured was the Willow guy. Have you seen the movie Willow? And it's like marriage. We are gathered here. It's funny. I'm sorry, man. It's an old '90s movie, I think, late '80s movie. Willow. You ever seen that movie? One of them sci-fi type movies.
Was it the one where they would glow, where they would come out of their bodies and they would glow? Is that it?
No. There's a little person is the main star, and baby gets taken away off to the dark. One of the light versus dark kind of things, very Lord of the Ring-ish kind of thing. But yeah, they just go ahead.
All right, so
no, I'm wrong. Oh my God, I said that yesterday when we were out hanging out that it was the Willow. It's not Willow where they do that. It's Princess Bride. The Princess Bride, that comedy movie. That's a great movie, actually.
Oh yeah, I don't think
I'm wrong, by the way. So you're right yesterday. It was not Willow. Sorry about that. Sorry for scrolling off, man.
So marriage is something that should be based off of principles first. So you should get married spiritually. So spiritually, you're already married. Mentally, you're married, because that means that two people have the same view. It means you have the same focus, you have the same direction, and it's about being tuned into each other to that part.
Is signing the paper, you think, necessary? Doing the actual contract and all that shit?
No, because all right. So what this culture what the American culture has made people believe was, your name on a sheet of paper resolves marriage totally, like totally. But in our reality, there's three forms of marriage. There's spiritual marriage, there's physical marriage, and then there's paperwork. Companies marry all the time.
Sure, yeah.
America and Bank of America married.
Yeah.
Because Bank of America wasn't always ran by America.
Yeah.
So once Bank of America went into debt and they was getting ready to go for bankruptcy, America decided to buy Bank of America.
Yeah, so you get mergers.
Right.
Yeah.
So a merge is a marriage. So
hell, the way they separate is the same dang way. Lawyers are involved.
Exactly.
You lose half your shit.
so it's a marriage. So that's a marriage on paper.
Yeah.
The reason why most guys cheat on their wives with their secretary is because their secretary is more married to their vision than their wife is.
Whoa. Say that one more time, just for somebody to hear that.
The reason why the reason why a lot of guys cheat on their wives with their secretaries is because their secretary is more married to the guy's vision than the wife is.
I also think because they spend so much time with them as it is. I mean, you're spending more time at your business, and I don't know what time is, but you're spending more time at your job and on your business than you are at home.
Right, but it's just because you marry somebody and y'all have kids together, that doesn't mean that that the marriage that it's a functional marriage.
Yeah, I'll second that.
You know, even love bugs, when love bugs get together and they marry, they fly together everywhere.
Their lifespan is rather short.
Right. Right. But the fact is that when you marry, so the paperwork marriage versus the physical marriage, a lot of people get married to each other physically and then they get a divorce.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
They'll have sex with each other for a period of time, maybe a year or two, maybe 3 years, and then they separate.
I think the average is 3 years now.
I don't know.
50% divorce rate.
Oh, you mean marriage? Oh, you mean that kind of marriage?
Yeah.
Yeah, but most people are really married on just on physical and paperwork, but they never reach the level of marriage on the spiritual. Because if they got married spiritually, then that means that they have the same culture, they have the same beliefs.
8 years.
Yeah.
50% marriages fail within the 8 years. Oh, that's right. The 7-year itch.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I mean,
I just like little weird facts in the middle of this stuff.
Yeah. So for me, I help people understand, look, your marriage has to be more than what you think on paperwork. Like, marriage is something that's spiritual. So once two souls get together and you reach each other on a higher level than the mental state, then you would know the need of your partner before they know they need it.
Mm.
You know, that's why some of the marriages last so long back in the days, was because they didn't have all these distractions, for starters.
That's true.
And then
you couldn't go on Facebook and somebody couldn't hit you up and come at you all which ways.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that too matters by the age, because right back then you're marrying at 16, 17 years old, sometimes 14 and 15, you know, and that's, you stay together forever.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about 1920s, so all the way back. People would marry at a young age, but the death rate was the death age was a lot lower too. You're
like 40.
Yeah, you're croaking early, you know, so maybe like we gotta get this in, you know. But I wonder, in the developmental stage, you know, in the brain's developmental stages, if connecting at a younger age like that is adds to the length of the marriage, you know, or reduces, you know, the chances. Nowadays, I would say it reduces it, right? I mean,
I don't think it was based off age. I think it was really based off of the age that we're in, as far as like time. Right now we're in the information age. So the culture has changed. So if we can get back to the culture of it being, whenever you have a problem, you don't just throw each other away. Mm. You know, but that's the culture we live in. We live in a culture to where if your transmission,
get a new one.
Right, if your transmission going bad in your car, you get a whole new car now.
Yeah, I get rid of my car if there's less wrong with it.
Right. See?
Yeah.
But that's because that's part of the mentality of how we look at all things.
Sure.
You know,
although I don't keep much. This is the most stuff I've had in 5 years, and I've lived heavily minimalistic for a while. But you know what does trip me? We'll get back to it, I promise. I drive out of my subdivision and the garages are open. They're so full of shit. I mean, I'm like, you couldn't fit another tub in that person's garage. The cars are on the outside. There's just excess. We live in an age of excess over here, man.
Yeah. So we came back to the topic.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm just scrolling off, man.
Yes. So,
but that's kind of what I was making the point, is that we don't. I mean, I guess we hold on to stuff. Maybe that's just the baggage we hold on to in the garage, but we just go buy a new one. You know, the couch, whatever. We put it out there. We get another one because it's it's cheap and easy.
Right. And that's, you know, and that's how people look at marriage now. People look at marriage like it's cheap and easy. Think about how many celebrities got married 6, 7 times and got divorced.
Oh yeah.
They look at marriage like it's cheap and easy. So they really perverted marriage. Mm. Marriage is when two people get together and commit to each other for the remainder of their life. And that's what we stopped doing.
Man, when you said that, I just heard like, I was like, that scared me, man. It's scary for some people to think that.
But that's what it's about, man. 'Cause it's a commitment. Yeah. So, and you're gonna have kids. So when you get married, it's not just designed for you, but it's also designed for the generations after you, because now you've became a foundation for a new generation.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, you get married, you have kids, and as long as your kids can see a functional household and a functional marriage, then when they have kids, now they have a foundation that they can come back to for the principles that they didn't understand as they're getting into their marriage.
Sure.
And they can bring that, and so they can sit back and say, all right, so Dad, listen, this is what's going on with me and my lady. Mm. I'm working a lot, and she's upset because I'm working a lot. So then I slow down on work, and now I'm slowing down on work. Now I have the time to spend with her, but I don't have the money. Now she's complaining about money. How do I make this balance?
Yeah.
But being a veteran, since you've been married and had kids and had a family, you can sit back and tell your son, like, well, you know, you remember when we did this and I just had to do these things? Like, yeah, well, this is what we had to do. So you notice you stopped going to camps? Like, yeah. So we cut down on our luxury so I can still make the money and still be able to spend time with the family.
Yeah, there's advice there. And now when you're at 50% divorce rate, then
there's you know, we've handicapped the generations. Anytime somebody gets divorced, they've literally handicapped the generation after them.
Wow. Yeah, that's hard. There's a lot of people that argue that. But I like though how you preface it though. If the marriage is good, if it's a good environment, if the home is good, because I would, from a counseling standpoint, I would say staying together for the kids is one of the worst decisions that a marriage can make. Personally, that's well, there's some research to that too.
Right.
But when I hear that, because what you tend to in some of my research and what you tell the kid is basically, whether you're not happy or they're not happy, you suffer anyway. You give up your own dreams. You sacrifice that, kind of to a point of going, your kid then watches that, sees that, you know, if the mother then sacrifices her happiness or safety, you know, whatever it is to keep the marriage together, then the kid then sees this. And that kid, like you said, will repeat that same behavior, will allow the abuse, will allow the husband or the wife and both sides to hurt, to hit, financially abuse, emotionally abuse. And, you know, if we got kids together, I know she's cheated on me or he's cheated on me 3 times. I know he or she punches me once a week, you know, or scared, you know, but we're married, you know, that's he was drunk, she was drunk, right? I mean, they find ways to look over it, and, you know, we stay together for the kids. And then 10, 15 years of that, raised in that, the kid goes, oh, that's normal.
Right.
So I got to find the drunk boyfriend, girlfriend, and that's who you marry, and you stay with them forever.
And the thing is there's a difference between being common and being normal.
Sure.
It's became so common that people lowered the standard for it to become their new normal.
Shit. Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
You know, so you know, that's why I'm more on this. Look, I don't follow standards, I set them. But you know, when we get into these dialogues about marriage and so forth, that's what people miss. You know, if you ask a marriage couple, so what's marriage?
Yeah.
You know what?
Actually, I got I got something similar.
Right.
For, I don't know, 10 years, maybe longer. When I meet couples that have been married or for a long time or generally a long time, I ask one question. I literally ask them both, usually when they're there, how do you do it? How do you do it? And sadly, the majority answer that I got from the guy first would be a form of happy wife, happy life. You know, just sacrifice, just give up all the shit you like. As long as she's happy, everything's fine. You know, and then on the other end, it would be her that would say something like similar, you know, but as long as he keeps me happy and he doesn't argue back, and I would be like, she's been married 56 years, like that, you know. And my grandmother, I always thought, who I personally think sits at the right hand of God myself, been married. They were married. My grandfather passed away,
right.
But I think it's 58 years. It would have been longer, right? 58 years, and always kept a separate bank account for 58 years. She had hers, and he had his, and they put their money together to pay for the house, the certain bills and stuff. But if it was beer money, that's his bank account. You know, if she wanted to buy a sewing machine or something, that was her hobby that she liked to do. That was her money. And 58 years, they kept that separate.
That's the other part of marriage, is just because the two of you become together doesn't mean that you don't have your own individual self. Like, you don't lose yourself in the marriage.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like when you were saying happy wife, happy life.
But Mike, I have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice in marriage.
You do. You're going to have to sacrifice certain things, but you don't sacrifice yourself. You know, because look, here's the thing.
So many people do that, man.
I know.
The stay-at-home moms do that, you know, or the guy who both do it. Or just for instance, easy example. Notice I try to hit both sides. You have to, because it does both ways. You know, the guy just throws his dream in. Maybe he wants to be a stand-up comedian, you know, and he's only making $300 a week, or, you know, he can afford their condo or their little apartment they have. It's enough. But then the kid comes out and he throws that away and he picks up a sales job selling, you know, paint, you know, which he doesn't want to do, working 50 hours a week because he's got to provide for the family. And then he wakes up 5-10 years later, obese, with diabetes, pissed off, you know, or the woman does the same thing. She may have a career or something she's doing, gets pregnant, becomes a stay-at-home and then finds unhappiness. I mean, people literally throw themselves away, but literally they do. They say it's what you do. You sacrifice for the marriage, and that's what you do. And that seems so sad to me.
But you don't sacrifice things. You sacrifice your ego. You sacrifice your ego. You don't sacrifice you, because you're part of the relationship. You know, you're part of the family. The male is the foundation. If the male decides to sacrifice himself, then the foundation is going to crumble.
That's what the family's only strong as the weakest link, or the sickest link, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, so what you like, they don't understand the concept behind the sacrifice. You sacrifice your ego, but you still have to stay who you are, because who you are is who you are.
Sure.
You know, at the end of the day, when you were saying that happy wife, happy life, it's not my job to make her happy.
Touche. I like that. Yeah. Right.
Because even now people
what an ego though, to even think that it's like, I'm the one that makes her happy. Without me around, she's terribly unhappy.
Right.
That's kind of what that's saying, huh?
Kinda.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look at it, it's her job to make her happy. I'm not going to talk to anybody that's not happy, because look, it's just like this mug, right? You fill that mug up and you share your happiness. You share your overflow of happiness.
Want some coffee? Is that what you're saying? Is that your way of telling me want some coffee?
Load it up.
You go ahead.
So that's how it works. So it's let somebody share their happiness with you. When two people share their happiness together, now they have an overflow of happiness that's going to cascade over into the generation after them as far as their kids. But if the husband is so busy trying to make the wife happy and he's getting depressed, he's going to cheat, because he's going to look for somebody to fulfill his happiness, because he's pouring all his energy trying to make one person happy. But it's not our job. It's not my job to make anybody happy. My job is to make sure that I learn what it takes to make me happy.
Yes.
And then if I'm happy, I'll share my happiness with whoever has
so many people reach for the other person to make them happy.
Yeah, codependent.
Yeah, you reach out and go, "Oh, this will make me happy if I just find a new boyfriend, if I just find, a new girlfriend or whatever, then that'll make me happy."
Right, and it doesn't. Yeah. It just, you can't fill a physical void with something that's spiritual.
Bam.
Well, I'm sorry, you can't fill a spiritual void with something that's physical.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So we get into
you're circling back around. I've taken us way off. You were talking about the paper marriage, the physical marriage, and calling marriage spiritual.
Right. So
now I'm going to point it out just to be the other side. All right.
Okay.
When people hear the word spiritual, they tend to go, "Ooh, all right, here we go. Spiritual stuff that's non-scientific. You can't prove that adds this little edge to it. You know what I mean? Or where what would you say to somebody like that? Right. Because if I left out the word spiritual in my first edition of the book for that very reason.
Right.
Because I couldn't put anything scientific to it. I couldn't to a point, right? I mean, we've shown that actually prayer and things like this actually does make people's lives better and essentially works, in quotes, right? They've also seen that people that attend certain churches, I don't want to say certain churches, but attend church kind of regular or have a faith in something greater than themselves actually perform financially better. Right. And that's science. I mean, that's literally shown that research over time. So when I rewrote the book for various reasons, it was less tangential in the second book, but kind of pulled together. I threw the word back in there.
Okay.
Because it had meaning to me, so but I still left it vague to the person. And I said, I can't tell you how to work on the spiritual side because that's going to be something you do, but I'm merely pointing that out here. I can't really give you a scientific practice to add to it, but I felt the need. I needed to put it back in the book, that I had left it out because I read it like my critics, and I could hear the scientific community going, right. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'll break it down to its most simplest form. All right.
You do. You're good at this shit. I like how you do that. You are good at that.
So the spirit. So there's a realm, right? You have a physical realm. So people only talk about physical science because physically they can prove it. Then you have spiritual science, right? Spiritual science is energy. Energy can't be made nor destroyed, only transferred or converted, right? You can't prove it.
Yeah. You
can't put energy in a bottle. You can put electricity into a capacitor. But if I was to sit back and tell you, put happiness in this capacitor, you can be like, well, you can't.
Yeah, glass of Jameson.
Right. So I'll literally I'll get into the argument by saying, well, happiness doesn't exist then. You can't physically prove it. Yes, I can. No, you can't.
Yeah, you can't. It's a state that we choose to be in through various thoughts that create our emotional state based on what we're thinking we should be because of what has happened.
Right. So emotions is energy in motion. Right. So anytime somebody when people start giving out negative emotions, like it's just energy that's going in a negative way. It's going down. It's not lifting you up. It's pulling you down.
Okay. And I'm trying to connect psychology and science the best I can to the back end of this.
Right.
Wow. All right. Because to preface, you probably already know, I talk about how we have beliefs. The beliefs shape how we think. How we think shapes what we think. What we think then creates our feeling. Our feeling determines our behavior.
Right. So the word feeling, you have feelings and you have emotions, right? You'll feel the vibe, the vibrations. You'll feel the vibrations. You can't touch it, but you can feel the vibrations.
Bunch right there. Feel the vibrations.
All right. so you can feel the vibrations. Now you have a choice of what you choose to do with it, because people get in their feelings. So because they feel a certain way, then the reaction of their feeling is their emotions.
Okay. I can. Well, yeah, the emotion is actually behavior. To display that emotion would be the behavior. So we're still on point. I argue that no one can just have a feeling, that it's impossible to have a feeling. That people walk in the room and go, I got a feeling this is bad. And I'm like, no, you thought it first, and then you're stating that you have a feeling something's weird about the situation.
So your feeling, so a feeling can be an awareness.
Okay.
So you are aware of this energy.
Sure.
So that means you become sensitive to this energy, and then you either choose,
which is hard too, because to argue my own shit is I've been around a person and I don't know what hit me first, the thought that this person's dark or something's wrong with them. I don't know if I had the thought first or I had that, or I was like, I don't know. And then I don't know which was first, because it happens, so fast, I would argue that I had the thought this person was dark first, and then I created the feeling and it manifested. But
well, you're a soul. The cast of who you are is the beard. That's like your physical appearance is only the expression that your brain wants to show of who you are.
Right. Based on things I've seen in my life, the culture I'm in, what I've absorbed, what I've been through, my environments, witnessed. Yeah.
Your genetics, your DNA, that's where the skin, that's where the case of who you are is. Now, inside the case is your soul. So your soul was able to feel it. Your soul was able to feel something that your physical flesh couldn't feel.
Yeah, this is where the science guys are going to jump in and be like, yes, what's the soul, right? It's like the unconscious. People talk about the subconscious. There's been no scientific evidence to show a subconscious at all, ever.
That's because they're so busy trying to catch it on the physical side. Remember, physical is anything that can be touched.
Now I've eaten enough psychedelics and mushrooms to tell you I've been to another realm. I have spoke with what I believe is God at the moment.
Right.
I'm telling you, or at least as little people.
Yeah. So that goes to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So the Holy Spirit.
I'm telling you, man, I've been on the other side of that, whatever that realm is. I mean, I've taken 7 grams of psilocybin at once, which is about 2 grams more than anybody recommends for a high dose. Okay.
Right.
I have seen that other side, whatever. But what I can't determine is whether what I felt like I was immersed in, a part of, seeing, witnessing, being spoken to by, I don't know if that was another realm I was in or a manifestation of my own mind creating something like that. But I can tell you, I said the same thing. I've probably been on 7 grams of mushrooms 10 times in my life, and which is why I think sometimes I differentiate. Now, some people don't come back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do. I wake up from that 12-hour adventure, sometimes longer, and I go, God's real, religion's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that hit me every time I come back. I would be like, wow. It's sorry to squirrel us off, but I mentioned that for other realms as you're talking about.
So other realms really exist. So your spiritual, so your soul, your soul, it's like Spider-Man with his spidey senses.
Okay. Yeah.
So your soul was able to identify something, off vibe or off spirit.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like I know you remember the song. It sort of feels like somebody's watching me. Right.
I can't paranoid. I can't sleep. I'm in the dope game.
Right.
Oh, no, you're talking about the original.
The original.
All right. I'm talking about the remake.
But what it is we're not in tune to our spiritual self as much. So typically what happens is whenever we catch this vibe, then we're like, oh, hold on now. Something just doesn't feel right. They're not comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
But the reality is when you had that vibe with somebody, it was your soul telling you to be aware, because that person had a spirit in it that would hurt you.
Yeah.
So it transmitted information to your brain to where you can cognitively start to think, wait, I don't know this person. I don't know why I'm getting this bad vibe from this person, but I got a feeling I need to stay away from this person.
Yeah, listen to your gut.
Right. And that's what people are like, man, it's just right here. I just feel I'm just supposed to do something, and that's what it boils down to. So yes, in all reality, your soul has a way of giving you warnings too.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote in the book, also my book, where I heard myself, right? This own little voice. It knows when I'm not supposed to do something.
Right.
And that voice in me, I know I'm creating myself separate voices. I'm not schizophrenic.
I know.
But I always hear that voice first, quietly, and once, and I don't hear it again. And it's usually right up front. If I'm about to do something I shouldn't, it goes, don't do that. And then I don't hear it again. The rest of it's that other guy on the other shoulder, right? I'm giving you the devil angel. It's like, nobody's watching. Yeah, he deserves it. Something like that comes up, but I don't know what that is. I write in the book about, when you're not going to do any, or when you shouldn't do something. What are those 2 words that it says to you when you're going to do it anyway? Fuck it. I call it the fuck it philosophy.
Right.
If you don't have a philosophy, you're probably living the fuck it philosophy. And then I go, if you don't like cursing, it's usually forget it. Right. But those 2 words you hear inside where you're like, fuck it. You know what I mean? And you dive in, I'm what's that, right? You know what I mean? What's that little voice that tells you don't do that shit? Fuck it. Do that shit. What is that back and forth, man? That's crazy.
Yeah. So but that's what it boils down to, man. It's just the reason why most scientists don't believe in God is because they can't touch him.
Sure. It seems rational though, right? Right.
Well, that's why they always tell people, look, the human brain is limited. So don't lean upon your own understanding. Like your capacity as a human is so limited.
Is fucking egomaniac, though.
Right. So most humans, they depend on what they can understand to the space to where they imprison themselves solely to what their mind has a capacity to understand.
Sure.
Even in the Matrix, it says people only make the decision to the capacity. People only make choices as far as their mind will allow them to think, something like that.
Something to understand. Yeah.
Right. So
it's kind of you're kind of talking cognitive dissonance there. As far as I can allow it to go right here.
Right. People can't make choices past what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So so to me, I'm aware that there's a lot of things that I do, and I'd be like, Mike, why did you do that? I don't know. I'm just supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's the scientific, right? It's like, well, when I prove it, when I can see it, and then I can repeat it, right? It's the scientific method, right? The hypothesis, present it, create an experiment, and then can I repeat it to get those results, and then I can quantify it to be something.
Right.
I mean, this is our scientific, our method, if you will, which probably is still man-made. So those errors still there, but I don't know. For me, it seems so pessimistic. It's so pessimistic to kind of lean toward that. You can't prove there is a God. You can't prove there isn't.
Well, you can because
now there's people who've been through some miracles. People can go back through the first show I did on here. I think it was like episode 3. My friend Johnny Rotten and Rosie. I think Rosie Perfetto. I think I'm saying her name right. It ended up we did this whole long hashtag. It was like become a Rosie. But wow, when they talk about their story, the car accident he got into, how she ran from the thing, and you should go back and listen to it, people. But anyway, Johnny should have died. Okay, he just should have flat died. A semi jackknifes, and he's doing like 70, 80, and literally just goes onto, and it takes the whole top of the car off, and it's a fuel truck, so there's fuel everywhere. And Rosie is standing there on the side, and the fireman is in there trying to pull Johnny out of the car, and he can't do it. And Rosie talks about how something spiritual in her took over. Something was just like, you have to go in there. And she runs up there. The fire department guys are trying to pull her back and kick her out of there. And somehow she was stronger than the fireman, grabs him, rips him out of the car, and pulls him back, and the car blows up. ridiculous. So she walks through this stuff. Like, it was insane. Her husband also somehow survived. He was one of the firemen in September 11th. He was in one of the buildings, and he had some moment at the time to go to take this other call on a phone. It was weird. They connected it all in the show. It was crazy, man. And they talked about some intervention, basically, like something jumped in to save him like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it exists. It's just,
my whole point was saying there's people that have been through that
Right.
would say, yeah, I can tell you God's. I mean, I've been shot at, and I should have been killed. I should have been hit. Again, like Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction, right? He should have been killed. And the guy misses, and he turns his whole life around. But that wasn't even enough for me to turn my life around at the time. But for me, when shit like that happens, I've survived 3 car accidents. I should have been dead. That's when that's how I know. You know what I mean? I'm like, I've been there, man. You think something has to happen to someone like that?
Typically, something has to happen to you for you to know where you're coming. Like, you're gonna get your warnings. He's gonna let you know. Look, God is always good to let you know. Hey, look, all right, now this is it. You're coming to the end of your rope. God gives everybody grace, right? But
isn't that what the church says though? You have to have faith first, and then you receive grace.
No, grace was already given. Grace is given to everybody.
Because I always like to think the difference is grace punches you in the face, and then you can't help but have faith.
A good example would be a gas tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you put
I
gas
love it when you do these, by the way.
So you put gas in your car, all right? You fill it all the way up.
Yeah.
All right. When you go to the dealership and you purchase a car, the common courtesy thing for every car dealer to do is fill up your first gas tank, right? As you go on your journey in life, that gas tank is going to get low.
Sure.
A warning sign is going to be when you get that light on.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Now, that warning sign is going to hit you in so many different ways. It may even beep, 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 and the gas and the engine and the e-light will come on and let you know you may have 50 miles before your gas tank is empty.
Mm-hmm. Some people run that shit all the way down to 1, don't they?
Right. So some people just rather some people rather run out of gas.
Yeah. You start counting the miles, you map it to the gas station, like, oh, it's only 3 miles away. I can get there.
Yes. So you have to look at gas. You have to look at grace like gas. And depending on how much faith you have, how much money you have, how much faith is spiritual currency. So how much ever spiritual currency you have, that's going to fill your grace tank back up, aka your gas tank. But if you keep letting it get to that E margin, then you're going to keep getting these warnings like, look, you getting ready to run out of grace.
It's also terrible for your engine.
Yes.
Metaphorically, both sides.
Both You're sides. Right. Yeah. And that's what happens. So every grace has a period. All grace has a period. There's a grace.
It's the grace period for your payment.
Exactly. See,
I was waiting for you to say, that's why they call it a grace period, don't you?
Yeah, because run out of faith, run out of currency, and obedience comes by faith.
Yeah.
So as long as you understand how to take care of your engine, how to take care of your soul, how to take care of your car, aka your body or your life, however you want to symbolize it, that's what it boils down to. You have grace, but then because of grace, you develop more faith.
So it's kind of both hands, one hand and the other.
Right. So and honestly, some people have to be sat on the side of the road sometimes. Some people have to run out of gas before they realize.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously I ran out of gas this time.
You're walking.
Right. and life gets tough for a while.
Yeah.
Until you go back and you fill up that gas tank again, until you get enough grace again. So God always gives you grace, but do you have enough faith to keep it?
What do you do when it gets tough for you?
It hasn't really gotten tough for me in a while.
No shit. Nothing mentally, spiritually. I mean, what do you do if it gets tough on any realm, any physically, anything?
I mean,
what do you tend to do?
So I mean, like right now, I done packed on some pounds, man. Since I was working at that restaurant over the holidays, but
yeah,
so
you still look good, man.
So the only real stress for me is just getting his weight off. That's it. Yeah. Other than that, I'm always reading. So
let's say over the 9 years, right, of the celibacy that you've gone, what was one of the toughest times when it got dark, when you didn't believe it was the right thing to do? Maybe did you ever been to it? Was there something? you know, or maybe you're like, maybe this isn't it, you know, or what do you do when you feel either spiritually attacked, right, or attacked by the people around you?
Okay. So when in those situations, I just go read. Like, really, man, I just get back in the Bible. The Bible is life's currency. I'm sorry. The Bible is
Now you read a different version of it.
Well, I'll read
the
life
typical King James.
Yeah, I don't read the King James.
Yeah,
I do the NIV version.
Okay.
So when I read the Bible, it gives me when I read a story in the Bible, it gives me a set of principles to follow. So the principles will tell me what I need to do. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a time to where I used to work at this hotel, and I was a valet guy at the time.
I remember this story.
Yeah, and the
I remember you calling me, going, you know what? I don't know about this guy, and he said this, and I'm supposed to be at this position. That's the one.
Well, that was the no. This is another hotel.
Oh, okay.
This was the hotel when I first started valeting on the corporate side.
Okay.
So when I first started valeting on the corporate side, it was only one. I was the only valet guy, and I was running cars.
Yeah.
But some of the bellmen kept stealing my tips. Now, the old me at the time, yes, I started being celibate, but I was still mentally, I was still in the Jacksonville, don't try me, or don't think that is only that I'm limited to dealing with you at work, kind of thing. So in my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna meet him at his house, put a pistol in his mouth, and make sure he show up with the rest of my money at work the next day.
Seems logical to me.
Right.
I kind of mean that. That's not sarcasm. I'm kind of like, yeah.
So I got to a space where God was like, listen, man, I'm supposed to fight your battles. Revenge doesn't belong to you. Stop stealing revenge. Revenge belongs to me. Let me deal with them.
How do you differentiate between you talking to yourself and God?
Because I wasn't logical.
How do you know when it's him, in quotes?
You'll just know. It's like a higher level of logic would hit you.
And we maybe want to download it like it was ourself that thought of it.
Right. But it's just a higher level of logic. So
that's the best answer for that. I've asked a lot of people that question, and a lot of them are just like, you don't know, or you hear, because I used to do a little joke about it. I don't anymore. I'm like, so does this voice sound like you? You know, does it sound just like you when you're talking? I mean, is it your inside voice talking that you're labeling somebody else or something else?
Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes you read something and it hits you.
But that's you still seeking it, though. Looking for the answer, though. That's kind of leaning towards something you do.
Yeah, but when I'm mad,
yes.
you know what? Sometimes it'll come through a friend. Sometimes one of my friends will be like, Mike, look, now, you know, bro, I know you're trying to keep your life right, this and that, man. Look, this is what you need to do. And I'm like, okay. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, this person don't normally talk like this. This person doesn't talk like this. But it'll come from somebody that God know I trust.
Interesting.
And because God uses people to get messages out.
Mike the Messenger.
Hands big Mike the Messenger.
Yeah.
Right. But I also get messages from you.
You may want to check those, man.
Okay. So, but I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm gonna challenge you on that.
I'm just telling you may want to check those, man. All right, so running through a committee or something.
So with that, it kind of, I learned. I got to a space to where he said, Mike, revenge doesn't belong to you; it belongs to me.
Yeah.
And then, I was watching TD Jakes videos and Miles Monroe videos. So, I was on YouTube a lot. So I'm listening. And in one of TD Jakes videos, he said, you know what? He said, God has a big hand. He said, God's hand is bigger than yours, but God's heart is also bigger than yours. He said, so I'm willing to let God deal with me. And if you're willing to let God fight your battles for you, God's hand is bigger than yours. And in my mind, I instantly started thinking, well, the most I can do is probably kill him.
Yeah.
Or put a gun in his mouth or pistol whoop him. That's the most I'm gonna do. I'm not trying to really kill the guy, but if I have to, I'm going to. But why even put myself in the situation? And he was like, and so it just came to me. A guy was like, look, if you let me handle it, watch what happens. Man, it couldn't have been 6 months. 6 months. So the contract ended. After the contract ended, I was gone for like 6 months. Came back just to visit because it was a good spot. It was a phenomenal hotel. I enjoyed it. It was on Disney property. I'm not gonna say the name of the hotel, but it was an amazing hotel. I enjoyed everybody there. And I was like, man, since I'm already out here, let me just check on the people. Went back and checked on them. The supervisors were like, Mike, man, you won't believe what happened. I said, man, what happened? He said, so he ended up cheating. So he was cheating on his wife with his supervisor. His wife came up there, put on a clown suit, showed a complete fool. So he got fired. His wife divorced him. He lost the kids.
Shit.
And since he lost his kids and he didn't have a job and she put him on child support, he couldn't pay for the child support because based off what he was making at the hotel, he couldn't find another job to match that. But they were going off of what he made that year.
Shit.
So off the past taxes,
child support is fucked.
Yeah. So that child support put him right in jail. So got fired.
All right, I ain't stealing your money ever.
Right. So look, got fired, got a divorce,
God,
lost his kids,
went to jail.
And in my head,
none of that would have happened had you pistol whipped him or
Right.
done something right.
And in my head, I'm thinking
That's
hey.
shit.
And in my head,
that hurts, man.
Right. So I'm only thing I'm thinking is, only thing I could have did was give him a black eye and scared him.
Yeah.
So all right. So God, your hand is a lot bigger than mine. Like you can hit him in space. You can hit him on a spiritual realm, mental realm, and physical realm.
Financial, everything.
Yeah. Only thing I would have done was probably tapped out of $50 out of them.
And maybe taking away your shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So from that point, that principle taught me when God says revenge doesn't belong to me, it belongs to him, then okay, deal. So that's been my principle. So now it was a struggle.
So really you seek competence. You just go out and seek knowledge.
Yeah.
When you're feeling the dark shit, when you're feeling whatever, maybe a little weak, whatever the word may be.
Yeah. So whenever you feel dark, just open up that Bible and seek light. And then that light will override the darkness.
Well, you mentioned it reminds you somewhat of principles and ethics in your life.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what we started the podcast with, right? It was talking about the country, et cetera, the world living by a set of ethics and principles. Right. If you're president for the day or the year, however long it takes, I don't care, pick it, right?
I don't like politics.
Well, I didn't want to say you're God for a day, right?
Yeah. Okay.
If you could make the changes necessary, right, and wave that wand, right? Mm-hmm. What might be those ethics, those codes? I mean, how do you come up with a set of universal principles and ethics to apply to such a melting pot country?
So I would everything would be based off of human ethics. Okay. So for instance, a woman shouldn't get paid any less than a man if they're doing the same job.
Okay.
You know, there's no reason why a female should make less solely because she has a vagina and he has a penis.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I keep hearing Bill Burr's joke, and it's like, yeah, you know why they pay us that $1 or $2 more when we do the job? The reason they do that is because if the ship's going down, it's women and children first. Women and children first. That's hazard pay, man. Because when that sound bumps in the middle of the night, guess who's got to go check to see who it is? And it's like, he does have a knife. You know what I mean? That's a hazard pay, man. But that's funny.
Yes, so that would definitely be one. For two, I'll make sure that the education of different cultures would play a role. Making sure that we become sensitive to different cultures. Because sometimes we get so offended. There's a good example. The Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese. If you live in the Chinese culture, they find it offensive to tip somebody.
Yeah.
So
or eye contact as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So once you become more sensitive to their culture, then it's a level of respect that's given. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't know how to respect their culture, naturally they'll look at you like you're just ignorant. Yeah. So it's about making sure that you learn how to show people love according to their culture and according to who they are.
Yeah.
So my thing will really be the foundation of everything would be all principles will be based off love. Mm. And when it's based off love, it's so creative, but then you'll get a chance to really see the intent of people. Okay. So anytime there's destruction, that's not love.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what it'll be based off of. So if I had to be president for a day, anytime somebody made any derogatory statement towards somebody or did something that was detrimental to them, they would have to pay that fine times 2.
Holy shit, I'd be broke.
But it would fix so much, because then people sit back and say, man, that's not out of love. And then if you're not doing something out of love, then what are you doing it out of?
Yeah, my mom always tells me that to lead with love. That's
Right.
her thing to say.
So, because that's when you get into politics, it's more about selfish acts. It's about people having no tolerance for somebody else's point of view, but to love is to understand. So if you get a chance to understand their point of view, say, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see it from that point of view.
Yeah, good luck with that today. Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's,
we're gonna have to give everyone mushrooms. Just everyone should have to eat mushrooms once, because then you kind of open up to that side, man. Okay, yeah, I like that one. If we could somehow get other people to be okay and humble enough to kind of see the other side. I mean, that's what empathy is, right? Or to understand the shoes of the other person.
That's it.
Or at least care about the shoes of the other person.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Well, I know education is your realm too. I know you're still going down the ethics part, and you link the education to that. If you could be superintendent of all schools all over the United States all at once, whatever you said goes immediately in schools, what do you do?
I don't know, nothing. I've created other superintendents.
Well, I'm just, if you could, like, because I'm
that's a lot, man. That's a lot of pressure. Being a superintendent is a lot.
Well, I mean, of all schools, right? You're God of all schools in the United States, of the public education system, right?
Okay.
So I argue a lot from a psychology standpoint is, they force all kids to fit in this box. And if the kid doesn't fit in this box, then they are thus mentally ill. They have ADD,
right.
They're, whatever. They find ways to then diagnose this kid as some mental issue, and fucking school's boring. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's something you really love, right? If it's something you want to get into, holy shit, I found that funny. I was a B and C student in high school and kind of early college. And then when I found psychology, those 3 years of my master's, dude, I made one arguable B, which I would take to my grave as an A. She lied to me. So other than that, but for me, when I started performing like that for the first time in my life, I was like, who the hell am I? You know what I mean? 4.0 in my opinion, graduate. So I don't know. As a school's boring, it's kind of this box. What do you do, man? How do we fix education today? Because you use that a lot, right? From the shitty communities that are really going through it, that have been set up to be a project, right? Education was key in that. I tend to think lean that way too. Education. So what do you do?
All right. So two things. First thing I would do is first protocol of all things would be respect. So I would build respect first, and respect builds relationships. Once you build a respect and you build a relationships, then that's like it's nature's principle. Alligators would have they would have a lot of issues in their mouth if they didn't have these small birds to go in their mouth and pick away at the loose meat in their mouth, because that loose meat is acidic to them still, and it will eat away at their gums and eat away at their teeth. But the birds have respect for the alligators, and the alligators have respect for the birds.
Birds are crazy for doing that shit,
right? But it just points out the fact that if you see these things that we consider animals to have a level of respect and a relationship for each other, knowing that they need each other to survive, then that's the first thing. Those are the principles that I will line inside the schools. So if the teachers learn how to respect administration, and administration learn how to respect the teachers, and then they both get along so great that they learn how to respect the students. And then the students begin to develop. The students will develop because of the level of respect that's in that environment. Yeah. I think we was talking earlier about plants and trees, right? And how the soil. Well, the soil is also considered the environment of what the kids are in.
Sure.
And if you can produce a healthy environment, if you can cultivate the soil, then kids would produce.
Yeah.
They'll produce better grades. They'll produce a lot of great things.
I love how you didn't just go with the kids. You talk to most people nowadays and they go, oh, these kids today, they're crappy. They're disrespectful, right? That's where they first go.
And the reason why the kids are disrespectful is because they're that soil. So we pour in disrespect into the soil. How do we expect for them not to sprout disrespect?
Yeah.
But if you pour value, if you pour love, and so to respect means to value. When somebody disrespects you, what you're really saying is you don't value me. So
I like that.
So if you begin to value the kids, and if you begin to value, and if everybody values each other, have this level of respect for each other, then it's going to be so contagious that the kids aren't going to mimic and pick at each other, because they're going to know that this person has some form of value.
Wow. Yeah, I can see you now being the superintendent of all schools ever, and your first plan is to develop respect. How many people be like, this won't do it? But the way you open that up, when you first said, I was like, all right, well, how are we going to do that? But then as you kind of bridge that together, I'm like, yeah, man, like imagine if the kids were, I mean, cause I didn't respect a lot of my teachers, you know, for certain, some of them I could just tell didn't want to be there anyway. Or they were burnt out. But what I didn't know is administration was burning their asses out, and then they were getting paid shit, and they're coming anyway. But I didn't know that as a kid. You know, I'm just thinking, you don't even want to be here anyway. You didn't even like us,
right?
You know what I mean? So I don't like you. But every once in a while, I come across that teacher, you know, that stick with me forever. The teacher I remember forever has been on the show, been on Cognitive Rampage. He's about the only professor I really remember. From Valencia.
Dr. Brooks.
Yes.
Dr. George Brooks.
That's right. We were connected somehow through him. Yeah, I was like, I love this guy, man. And I'm just brilliant. But you come across those teachers once in a while, man, coming up where you're just like, you want to listen. You shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And you're like, because I think they allow you to not have to shut the fuck up.
Right. Now remember, teachers are humans too.
Sure.
Teachers are just adults that are big kids.
Oh God, I don't know how they do it now. My brother's a teacher. He went back to been teaching 25 years, probably longer. I don't know, forever.
The one in Alaska?
Yeah, he's back. He's down in Fort Lauderdale, South Fort Lauderdale, down there. Head football coach down there for high school and stuff. He couldn't help. He right back in it. Went from Alaska, went to California. He's taught now in Florida, Tennessee, Alaska. He's taught everywhere, and I think even Chicago. I can't remember, but I don't know how he does it. You know, I don't know how some of these damn teachers do it, man. Like my hats go off to teachers out there that try to hold this shit together.
Yeah, but you know, we gotta, you know, it's about supporting the teachers too. And that's one of the biggest issues is we gotta remember, teachers are humans too.
Yeah.
You know, they're not some old truck that you can just wear out for 180 days out of a year and then give them no support. Yeah. You know, imagine being in the truck. You don't put any gas in it. You don't change your oil in it. You don't do any of these things. You don't wash it. Of course, they're going to be beat up and beat down. Like teachers need that support too. Yeah. You know, so teachers need the same thing that the kids need.
Yeah.
Because whatever you give into the teacher is gonna cascade. Like they're gonna cascade down into the students.
Right. That's so logical. Right. As we sit here and say, like, you know what? Let's pay the person who's going to spend more time with my kid for the next whatever years.
Well, they pay him, but I mean, you know,
shit, they pay him garbage.
This is where I bump heads.
Now, mind you, summer's off, so you can run your other job. Listen, you can do other stuff.
You're working for 180 days a year.
Yeah, and you got some hell of benefits.
It's 365 days in a year,
and your benefits are nice.
Right, you're working for half a year.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you're not getting paid enough all the way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they had to work like a normal person working, they only get 30 days off. If you had to work 335 days a year, now the story changed.
Yeah.
But if they only have to work 180 days and they're making $42,000 a year, if they work another 180 days, they're making $84,000 a year.
Yeah. You know, I think that's the average pay in Chicago to be a teacher.
Right.
About 80 something.
Yeah.
Cost of living's higher, but
right. So I mean, so down here in Florida, I mean,
sure, it's not too bad.
Yes, it's not too bad. So it's not a money factor. It's more of a support.
Well, that's
factor.
true because even with some jobs, just because they make a shitload of money, but the stress factor is shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're on an airplane half of the year. You know what I mean? So that kind of I don't know, equal itself out.
Yeah. So I mean, we can money doesn't, like, I'll give you another one. Money doesn't solve poverty.
Yeah. Okay. There's been a little bit of research, you know, how I forget the NPR show. They did this experiment to where, you know, they go to a third world country and they build a church or a school or something like that. And they go down there, we're building a building for them or this all kind of stuff. And it ends up being worse for the people in that civilization or village, whatever it is. Because then the powerful seem to suck up the money. Then they use the building eventually for some corrupt bullshit. And it gets bad. Some things actually turn bad. Then they did this experiment where they actually went down there and just gave the people in the village money. Just gave them money to spend. And they end up livening the economy. Some people start businesses, right? It actually seemed to do better than, say, some habitat school building thing, you know, that's a tax write-off generally for some other nonprofit, but I won't get into that. But they were showing that sometimes just giving them money in some sense, actually, well, at least it was better than what they were doing.
Right. But one of the true currencies is information. That's another currency. So
100%.
If you have information, if you develop a skill set, you can always get money.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, obviously mine is a gift of gab. Me talking always gets me gigs.
Yeah.
The gift of gab, like, and honestly, my gift of gab is I know how to present information into a format to where I structure it to where when I release the information, it's easy for people to absorb. It's easy for them to retain the information.
Yeah.
Because I just structure information. So I'm in the information industry.
So you're saying education, information, that's how you eliminate poverty.
That's how you eliminate it.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you taught everybody financial literacy.
Holy shit.
Now, if you taught everybody financial literacy, it's most people still going to do well. But you have people who know, like, it's almost like in the fitness realm. People know what to eat. People know what not to eat. They know the principles. They know what they need to do, but they're just not going to do it. So you're not going to ever really distinguish poverty. But however, you can eliminate a lot of poverty by giving people the information. And once they understand it and they know what to do with it, then they can always pull themselves out of the traps that they're in. There's still people out here who make over $1 million a year and still,
but they're spending $3 million.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're still in poverty.
Yeah. House is just bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they still struggling.
Yeah.
They'll ask somebody who makes $60,000 a year, hey man, let me borrow $200 till tomorrow. But I mean, you make millions. They still mentally they still in poverty.
Yeah.
So that's what it's really about for me. So to me, it's about information. If I give you the proper information, whatever you do with that information, then that's on you. Because I've taught you how to fish. You know how to fish. You just refuse to put put some on the line and go find worms and put it in the water and get your own fish. Yeah.
Put the work in.
Right. So that's the thing. People just, you're gonna always find lazy people. You can't, there's no cure for laziness.
Yeah.
You just gotta let them starve.
Run out of gas, right? Side of the road. So with the education system, so you're talking about respect throughout, support for the teachers and the administrative alike,
right?
Building respect for that. And I think you were starting to get into something else about
relationships.
It was relationships, but you're talking about how you can't just throw money at poverty.
Oh yeah. So throwing money at poverty does nothing. They've shown the war on poverty, how much money America has spent on the war on poverty, and it's astronomical numbers, but
it's as bad as the war on drugs.
Right. So it's because you're throwing. Why
do we have to have a war on fucking everything? You know what I mean? Why can't it be like the love for poverty or get out of poverty? Something's we got to go to war against poverty. Got to go war against drugs. We got a war against terrorism. We got a war which is so vague too, right? We have these wars on. Man, we're violent.
Well, that's because the words mean something. The words mean that it gives you a sense of urgency, and then it gives you a sense of aggression. So that's always their goal. Their goal is always throw a sense of aggression out there.
Sure.
And with war, you're always going to have the word fear.
Yeah.
So that's their way of trying to fight it. But in all reality, most things that we fight, it's not going to be won with guns.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be won with money.
Yeah.
It's going to be won with the things that are not tangible.
Yeah.
It's going to be won with understanding. You can't put understanding in a bag and put it on everybody's doorstep.
Yeah, no.
You can't put love in a bag and put it on everybody's doorstep.
Right.
People,
economists can't explain that.
Right.
Right.
So there's a psychological aspect to it. Like, you're only going to be to the level of your mentality. If you give, we've seen people who win the lotto. You give a poor man $10 million, and you know what he's going to end with in 3 years?
Be fucked.
He's going to be minus $2 million.
Yeah, debt he didn't have prior to winning the lottery.
Exactly, because his mind didn't elevate to the level of his bank account.
Wasn't ready for it.
So his bank account overcorrected itself and put itself back in poverty to where his mind is at.
Yeah.
So until you change the mind of people, you're gonna always find poverty. Yeah. So until you can build that connection with somebody and teach them and pour into them the principles needed to survive and for success and the level of discipline and helping them understand credit and what you should spend your money on versus what you shouldn't spend your money on, or what a budget is all about, then they'll always find themselves in that situation, because your principles are going to develop your structure. So without no structure, you can't build. Without no your principle is your foundations, is your foundation, right? Then from there, you're going to have rules which are going to develop your structure and your limits.
Yeah.
And then from that, you can just continue to build, because the more information you have, then it's only going to emphasize on your structure.
Yeah, I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Too late in my life, but at least I read it. I was like, this should be required reading in high school. Like this book itself should be required reading instead of some crap ass economics class they forced me to take, which even that is shit. You know what I mean? Just like those real life classes about what that really means. It's like they almost purposefully keep that shit out. You know what I mean? I made a terrible mistake at like 18. The minute I turned 18, went and financed a new car as a Mitsubishi Galant. I got taken, boy.
And them Galants were nice, man.
Back then, but I got taken. I remember driving back to. I'll leave the dealership out. I think they're closed anyway. I went back to the dealership. I'm like, hey man, you guys fucked me. I was like, dude, I'm this and this and that. And they were like, you signed it. That's it. And I was like, shit. Why didn't anybody tell me? I'm like, God, I was like, credit? How much do I have? How much can I get? You know what I mean? I had no idea, man. I mean, there's part of that I think is also needs to be restructured in education is what we teach. It's like we're teaching, I don't know, just stuff that just doesn't seem relevant to a point, much less life classes, itself, teaching people how to be kind, maybe, even that, what finance really is. I mean, actual life classes, because I don't know, it seems to be missing.
It should be a high school requirement.
Yeah,
it should be an 11th grade, 12th grade course.
Yeah.
And it should be like right after algebra.
Yeah,
because people are like, why you use algebra? You'll find out next year when you take finance.
Yeah, at least walk into basic finance. I mean, I think since the kid who starts baseball, golf, martial arts at 4 winds up being the best the world's ever seen. If we just slowly did finance or life finance, from whatever 6 years old and a little bit, adding to that math class all along the way, to where you kind of get what the bill means, what credit means, how you build that along the way. Imagine what kind of financial experts these high school graduates could be.
It would be amazing.
You know what I mean?
We would then become the richest country again, because then from that space they'll understand how to handle other countries' currency.
Yeah.
Because the real money is when you begin to go international.
Yeah.
Because the United States is limited.
Oh yeah.
So once you start getting into the forex currency, now I don't really do forex exchange because that's it's too much for me.
Yeah, you gotta be good at what you're doing. You can lose your ass.
It's an all day thing. Like it's you got 4 hours. You got 4 hours during the time that before Japan and China go to sleep. Then you have 4 hours when they wake up again.
I'm out. Not doing it. Yeah.
So that's really when that's when their market exchange opens where you can start making those trades.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, look, man, it's not worth it. I'd rather just keep developing my skill set, and the higher my skill set, I'll just charge more.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not just start charging more because my skill set's high enough and companies pay for it?
Yeah, I think there's a trade-off, right? So how much you want to make versus how much work you put in. There's seen a huge turn back too nowadays to the trade world, to teaching kids a trade through trade schools or something. I think there's a couple experts out there saying this needs to be the way of the future of education is back to the trades, back to the tech schools, teaching those things that they get to choose. I remember when I was in high school that if you went to the trade part of the school, you were a bad kid. They either didn't want you in the regular schools. They'd send you over to West Side Votech over there, and you had to go learn how to be a mechanic or something like that. But you're seeing that transfer, and a lot of experts are saying, look, forget the college education because the cost of it is outrageous, versus the benefit from the end. But go learn a trade. You can do something like that. And with a lot of that rhetoric, though, that gets talked about, there's two things come to mind. There's a lot of rhetoric that talk about the college education. But here's the truth is, the person with the college education still makes more money than the person without. That's just factual on overtime. On a base average median, that's still true. Right now, I'm not say you're going to necessarily be a millionaire, etc.
Well, they may make more, but their student loans will level it back out.
Right, if you overtime, right? But they're talking overtime, right? So, and then how people talk about it's good to be poor, come up rough, because you'll hear like a self-made. Actually, I don't think anyone's self-made, but you'll hear some self-made in quotes millionaire person talking about, hey, we didn't have much as a kid. I didn't have anything, so because I went through all that having anything, I wanted to get out there and earn it. And then I always want to go, well, I bet you're making your kid have it tough then, aren't you? Like, well, no, I bought him fucking everything. I'm like, well, damn. And so that some of the research still showing though that if you see, I did that, I'm scrolling. No, but if you're from a rich family,
right,
you typically wind up richer than the person that's not from a rich family. And that's why some people are like, how's this person got millions? They're a moron. You know what I mean? And somebody else doesn't. Those are some of the things. I don't even know where I'm going with this shit. But some of those two cliches that still. Hi, Gracie. Those are those two. You know, the last topic, man, before we shut it down, bro. I've been watching politics a little more, and there's a guy that I've been interested in too for the first time. Actually, kind of brings me back to interest of politics. I know it and follow it a little bit, you know, enough to get me in trouble talking about it. But there's a guy running for president named Andrew Yang who's running, and he's got a platform. Grace is underneath the table. Her windshield wiper pit bull tail. You hear it?
Mm-hmm.
She's like,
she's right here in front of me.
Ting, 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 ting. Gracie, go lay down. We're busy right now. We're wrapping up though. I know, puppy. He's running on. He's got a lot to his platform, but the main function of his platform, he's running on his universal basic income, and this is something I used to kind of be on the fence about, right? And I've heard more and more about universal basic income as jobs continue to get automated. You know, mainly that's kind of the front he's talking about. As jobs get automated and move that way, that we're going to have to, right? That we're going to have to find a way to do it. And essentially, what universal basic income is doing on his end is giving every person in America $1,000 a month. That just goes to them. That they just get that. And no, it's not enough to keep you at home doing nothing unless you're staying at mama's house, right? It's not enough to make you stop working generally, but maybe enough to where somebody can follow what their passion is and make enough money to be doing what they love, to be happier over time, or enough to take the edge and stress off out of American families that are, you know, working overtime, that robbing Peter to pay Paul, lose one bill to pay another, you know, and at least it would. And he has ways. I'm not even trying to get into politics of how he pays for it, and there's structures the way he's averaged it out. It's pretty intense. You can listen to a podcast, by the way, if anyone's listening to this, on Andrew Yang on Joe Rogan.
Okay,
he really lays out financially how that would work. And I wonder, and it came to my mind because we talked about you can't pay away poverty,
right?
And then I thought about, though, you know, my own life, right? If you just took my life here or Patricia there, and you threw $2,000 extra into our monthly income, I'd be like, holy shit. You know, I could probably work a less over there and focus on talking in schools like I like to do, or try to do this to help somebody out a little more. Hell, I may donate some of that to somebody or a nonprofit that needs that. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on the idea of universal basic income?
I don't think it'll help. I think life gives you a bunch of tests. So whatever you don't have, it's an indication of what you need to work on getting more of.
Because he talks about it sparked the economy, right? Everybody's got a little extra money. You're going to buy some more stuff. You know, you're going to spend some more over here.
Right. But think about how many people already make a lot of money and they still live beneath them. They still live above their means.
Yeah. So you're saying give them an extra G. It just means they do more bad financial planning like they've been doing.
Exactly. Like whatever you're going to manage, if you can't manage it, it doesn't matter how much you get. It's just going to be more of what they can't manage.
Ah, good point. That's
right.
a good argument.
So to me, that's how I see it. Because I mean, you know, you're gonna have years where you'll make $100,000 a year, and you'll have years where you make $35,000.
Because if you're already not managing your budget as you have it in place, and it's hard to pay that power bill or this bill, then maybe it should be a smaller house. Maybe it should be this. But if you give the extra $1,000, you're gonna get a probably bigger house than you got now, and you're gonna make this
same thing you was talking about at the beginning when it was about all these houses and they lift their garage doors open and they have to park their cars outside of the garage.
More shit.
Because it's just more stuff.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, humanistics has taught me. Is that a word? Humanistics?
I don't know.
I'm gonna make it one.
Yeah,
I should coin it.
That's what we do.
Right. Yeah. So
that's all right.
So
I have a word that no one's used yet, but I keep saying it. The word is GU. And what GU stands for, you ever been talking to somebody, you go, look, and then you go down to the store. Well, not you, but you're trying to reference that you're not talking to them when you use the word you.
Right.
So I said, well, and then GU goes down to the store and it's for the general you. Yeah. So if I'm talking to I don't have to explain how I'm not talking about you, Mike. Well, then you went down to the store Tuesday. Like, I didn't go to the store. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking metaphorically. So all I got to do is say, then GU goes down to the store.
Yes. Yeah, so
yeah, that's a word now.
All right. Fair enough. So humanistics would show you that, that people are going to always, and I mean, just in general, but people have a tendency.
Humanistic theory and psychology.
There we go. So humanistics is word. All right. So yeah. So humanistics will teach you that people have a habit of just of always shooting further than what they can manage or maintain, and then in the process, when it becomes too much of a burden, then they'll complain about it as if they're the victim of something.
Sure.
But the reality is they never really added up the cost of their choice. So now they have to serve their choices.
You always speaking that I open up Pandora's box. You say that shit, and I'm like, oh man, like somebody having a kid that shouldn't be having a kid.
Yeah. People making decisions and they're not in position to do so.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of poverty come from.
But how do you stop them from fucking, man?
You just kind of don't.
Yeah.
You can't. You gotta let them deal with it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was another reason why I knew I needed to become celibate too, was because I was like, look, I can't afford me and a family. And then even when I'm financially secure enough to where I can afford a family financially, then I still won't be able to. I got to create a balance where I can afford that family as far as time. Because now I got to pour life currency, aka time, into them, and be able to spend time with my wife, and then spend individual time with each one of my kids when I have them, or my wife when I have them, and still have time to maintain the household. Like, just the exterior parts of the house, like mowing the yard, cleaning the shutters, painting, like all that. So you still have to put all those things into effect. But in building that relationship and being able to sustain them relationships is going to be tough.
Yeah.
In the restaurant industry, most management in the restaurant industry, they've probably been divorced once or twice.
Yeah, the hours are ridiculous.
Yeah, because they don't have they have the financial support for the family, but they can't pour their life currency into their family.
You get the same way with top executives, salesmen, shit like that are on their in the plane, twice a week, half the year, if not 3/4 of the year, gone 24/7. That they're not there for the kids at all. But hey, look at this big house. The currency becomes the private school, the wonderful camps they get to go to, the great cars they're driving. Look, I have performed. You never see me, but hey, look at all this shit you got that I never had.
Right, and nothing compensates for a father being home or for a husband being at home. Nothing. Yeah. Or for a mother being at home or for a wife being at home. Nothing. Money can't compensate that.
And the single mother can't be the husband, and the single father can't be the mother.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think so many single mothers and single fathers, they wear that stress with not needing to. They wear this stress thinking, they can. I have to make up for the fact the father's not here. I got to make up for the fact that his mom's not here, or vice versa, right? And they wear that burden, and you can't. You can't be both.
Right, you can't.
You got to act like it sometimes, I guess, but you can't.
You just got to be who you are.
Yeah, you can only do what you are doing.
Be who you are, and then that's what coaches are for. You got coaches. You have to bring other figures in.
The unsung hero to me, man. Those coaches that coach Little League and Pop Warner and things like that, YMCA coaches. A lot of these guys and girls alike, they're such unsung heroes, man. Some of those coaches I certainly remember more than many of my teachers.
Yeah. So I mean, same with me. I had my coach Jennings. That was the guy that kept me from doing a lot of stuff because he kept the gym open. He kept the weight room open after school. Because, man, if he didn't, man, listen.
I'd have been. You ever hear that thing that they did the YMCA? It was called Midnight Basketball.
Yeah. So Midnight Basketball is something that started in Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
So Daytona coined it.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have it. But they have a version of it in Orlando.
You know who did that?
The one who did the version of it. No.
I know him very well.
Vince Carter dad.
No.
Vince Carter dad
before that. My brother.
Oh, he did?
Out in the West Side at the West Orange YMCA. He brought that down there. He was he was such a hardcore teacher, man. He would go teach all day, drive, he ended up teaching at Silver Star Center for a long time.
Okay.
And then he'd go open that up. He'd sleep at the gym at the YMCA with a fold-out cot just to be able to be there. And this probably, he blames himself. I would get in the truck with him to go play midnight basketball. We run through Center Street, 9th Street down in Winter Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we'd pick everybody up. Then we'd go hang out and play basketball till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He'd take everybody home. I mean, he put love into them kids, man. And so whether the Daytona, I didn't know, but he started that when I was young. Man. I was like 6. You know what I mean? Actually, he's 8 years older. So he'd already graduated. So I was probably like 9.
Okay.
And he was teaching for a long time. But man, I remind his ass of this a lot. And Davey, if you're watching this, man, love you. He got beat up by administration later on in the years. and they lost a good teacher for a while because he chose business instead. He just missed taking care of the kids so much. He came back to it, but he's probably pissed. I'm putting some of his story out there, but I got all emotional. So still to this day, sometimes I'll see kids, they were older than me. And I had my brother once in a while as a teacher. I actually had him once when I was in school suspension, my teacher. But there were kids that was like, hey, tell Coach Lauer I said, hey, man, and thanks a lot for this, that, and the other. And I'll call him up sometimes. Like, hey, man, you remember such and such? He's like, yeah. What's he up to? He said, tell you hi, man, and thanks for everything you did. And that's 20 years, later. And he reached so many of those kids. And I don't know how I got there, but that midnight basketball, stuff like that these teachers and these coaches that affected your life, as you were saying, and mine, they're such unsung heroes, man.
Yeah, man. Because, man, look, I'm an extremist.
No, the 9 years of celibacy didn't tell me that at all.
I tell you what, imagine where I would have been if I would have went the other direction.
Okay, touche. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Because when I commit, I commit.
Yeah.
I'm all the way committed.
I see that. So, I'm gonna get emails going. It's Mike Single. Give me his number. I'm gonna get this whole. People gonna be reaching out.
Just tell them to Facebook friend me, man. That's the most I can do.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Tell them find me on. Tell them I'm.
Well, you're tagged there. So everybody, just go to Big Mike the Messenger on Facebook.
That's it. Just tell them to tag me if they got any questions. Feel free to ask. But yeah, as of this moment, I'm single, but I'm not really looking. I still got some more work I got to do on me, man.
What's the work?
At this space, I feel like I'm almost where I need to be. Mm-hmm. Spiritually, I feel like I'm sound. Mentally, I'm definitely sound. But when it come down to the balancing my time out, I don't. You remember we were talking about happiness, mm-hmm. and how you have to have enough happiness to where you have such an abundance of it that you have it to share.
Yeah.
When it comes to time, I don't have that time to share yet.
Gotcha.
So once I get that time to share, then I'll be fine. So once I get that time to share and the money to back it up, then I'm fine. Nothing, I'll be ready.
Man, make me wish every kid in America grew up thinking this same way, man. And I did too, man. I wonder, man. I always love talking to you, brother.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure, man. It's been 2 years, man.
Well, it's been 2 hours.
Oh, we've been talking for 2 hours?
Yeah.
It's good talk.
It's been over 2 hours. We're beyond 2 hours.
Well, that works.
Yeah.
It's almost like our first podcast. We were 3 hours.
Was it? Yeah, it was a long one.
It was a long time.
And then you've been back. I think each one of them's pretty damn long, man. But dude, anytime, dog. I love doing this, man.
Yes, sir. Definitely, man. Look, y'all check in with Cognitive Rampage. Pretty cool guy, pretty fly guy. I'm gonna try to bring Marcus up here with the Melanin Code. So he's the producer of the Melanin Code.
Yeah.
So let's get him on. If I can, I'm gonna try to get him over here.
We'll set the other mic up right here.
I just want y'all two to talk, man.
No. Well, all three of us got to talk. If you bring him on, you got to talk with us because it'll be fun.
Because I'm
the more the merrier.
All right, fair enough.
The more the merrier.
But we'll get 3 mics in here. I'll do it.
There's 4 anytime, so we can go up to 3 people on the podcast.
We can probably get his wife in here.
All right,
Marifa too. So, yeah. Because look, man, Marcus. So he went to Full Sail. So when he went to Full Sail, him and Marifa were together for a long time. So while he was in school, she was showing support. So this is like one of the black women who I can't say didn't don't show support.
Yeah.
Right? So, right. but the thing
we're not preferencing what you said out on the porch. You're just telling me, man.
Right? Oh, I didn't say we didn't get into that topic on here, did we?
No.
Okay, yeah, we kind of going over too long. We have to say that one for another podcast.
Yeah.
But it'll definitely be part of the Melanin Code because we got to have a code of ethics for people on the personal level too, for how wives should support their husband. Because it's critical, especially if your husband is an entrepreneur and he jumps out here in the market, he's gonna need all the support he can get. And when he comes home, he's gonna want to have that place of peace and support.
Can you divorce them if they're not that?
No.
Why?
It's not enough.
Why? What if they hate you for it?
It's still not enough.
What if they hate you for that support or for doing what you're doing that's anti what they think you should do?
Well, I mean, that's
Next podcast.
Next podcast.
We'll jump into that shit, man. Because that's cool, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, Instagram or whatever.
All right, so on Instagram, I'm Big Mike the Messenger. On Facebook, I'm Big Mike the Messenger.
In person, you're Big Mike the Messenger.
Yes, in person, I'm Big Mike the Messenger. I have a YouTube account set up on the Big Mike the Messenger. I don't really put too many videos up because it's a lot of material that I really want to hold on to. Because whatever I put out there, I'm not going to
wait till it's polished.
Right. Well,
No, I pushed you for years to do a podcast and start some shit on your own. You're like, I ain't ready yet. It ain't ready yet. It's not ready yet.
Yeah, it's content, man. It's
Maybe
content.
9 years from now, you just do like, I ain't ready yet.
It's gonna happen sooner. It's gonna happen sooner than we think, too, man. And the reason why I say that is because I'm getting to a space now to where I know my content is you just have to wait for the season. At the end of the day, you don't plant an apple seed during the summer.
Yeah.
There's a season to plant the apple seed. You plant the apple seed right after winter during the spring, so that way it can get real nourished and the tree can kind of start, and then it'll go through its first season, and then when winter hit, it'll grow deeper for the next season. It'll start producing.
Sounds like the name of your podcast, the Apple Tree.
Yeah. So the point is,
no, you're in the blueberries.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So for me, it's knowing that there's a season to plant. You can hold on to seeds all year, but there's a season to plant, and then there's a season to harvest. You just got to make sure you plant when it's your season to plant.
I'm starting to hear the bird song too. Everything turn. Yeah. All right. I won't sing the rest of it. I'm terrible at that. But man, look him up, man. Check him out again. Thanks for coming on, man. As always.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. It's always a pleasure.
Later.
Yes, sir. All right.